I think the music could have been a little bit more peaceful and a little bit less like kind of repetitive. I guess I'll buff up. Ooh, vocation up. I'm now almost to 10. What happens at 10? Okay, let's go down a dark road. Looking around for anything that I see. I don't really see anything. That's a dark wood in there that leads, like, back that direction, I guess, to the road. But all it does is lead to the road. We haven't been this direction. There's signs of a fight. Wolves and goblins. Did we aggro? Yeah, we did. So... starting to get dark. Oops. That's really a shame. Shroud is dead, huh? I played this game for a time. I was scared that it might be something that might be really good and I might miss it. I played for 30 hours. This was today. And they have 5 players on a new release. Was this today? Oh yeah, that was today, yeah. Lord British has a lot of popularity and stuff. He may have caused people to like get married and meet each other and stuff, and he's like a cultural bastion. Jealous of him in some ways. It's like, you know, have enough balls to make a game, but it also constrains you to coding for the rest of your life, which is something I'm really not very comfortable with. But yeah, but like that's the only people showing up for anymore are the people that know him. It's insane. I don't understand why they keep the servers running. The servers are probably really expensive. They probably cost them like probably 100, 200 grand a year or something like that just to keep the servers running. You know, I want to go look at the store page and just see what the reviews have been lately of this game. Just see what people say. A massive fancy player of housing for those who got in early, with every knickknack and collectible on display, and now the additions of durables and electricity. This is not the ultimate series I grew up with, and certainly not what I expected my donation to go towards. On top of this, UI and command system are still kludgy mess of archaic interfaces and disorganization. I respect Richard for trying again, but I think this project went rampant and this is no longer anything I recognize. I won't be going back again. Make it bigger. What's New World doing today? I'm gonna get off this now. It's just like I know that this game's dead. I shouldn't have bought it. Oh, mostly negative and mixed. Yeah, they got bad reviews now. But I mean, like, I'm looking at, go back and, I'm looking at for, what's it called? Mortal 2, Mortal 2. No, I'm looking for, New World. What's that sitting at? 500, the same as Mortal. All these games are dying. If I don't support them, they'll die. But I mean, like New World, it's dead. They've announced it. It's dead. It's coming. They'd have to flip flop. They'd have to flip flop, flip flop. The cuck, KZD of Trump. Yeah, I would say so. Snorting lines of shit. Killing Floor 3. How is Gloria Victis doing after this relaunch? Let's go look at that. Gloria Victis. 3,000 on right now, which is pretty good. That's pretty good for, small game like that, but it's not a big game. Hmm. They all say Mountain Blade. that my cap? No. Yeah. I don't want to sink any time to Gloria Victis. I know a bad game when I see one. I'd rather waste my time on FFXI private, honestly. Sort of sad. I'll play some Mortal as well. Oh no. Oh, I saved though. I saved. I realized that if I just refresh and cure myself, I will chew through them. There's nothing stopping me really. Can even buff in battle. It doesn't really matter. I thought I targeted all of these. No, oh no, they're like new. I think. I like this game so much more than like any other auto swing except Eve. Need auto swing games like this, and I don't know of any. And the ones that I do know of are kind of bad. Let's go see what the AI says about this now. What other MMOs are auto swing like EVE Online or FFXI where you press a button and just watch and wait besides like old school RuneScape? What else is there? I don't like any of those. Give me more.
funding the entire project, but actually to add some additional features, but also mainly to get a litmus test on what the community thinks about many of our designs.
When he chatted with Asmongold, the undisputed gravity well of the MMO streaming space at the time, he wasn't only talking to around 50,000 live viewers and millions more in VODs, he was validating an entire subculture, a gamer making a game for gamers, speaking directly to the community's premier voice.
So like I know in RuneScape, for example, you can effectively buy gold with like bonds, and in WoW you can buy gold with the WoW token, and there are other things in the game that are effectively like kind of pay to win features. Are you guys gonna have anything like that? Absolutely not.
And above all, he clearly understood and communicated how MMOs are supposed to work.
There's been this kind of paradigm shift towards a mentality of everybody's a winner, and there's no longer a risk versus reward type of design philosophy. And
yes, we've heard of that.
All the right boxes were checked. The hype cycle then continued. Sharif equally joined live with Shroud and Summit, Tim the Tatman, culminating in dedicated Ask Me Anything streams.
That's good.
Like I said, I'm personally funding the project to completion, that's not the issue.
By the time the marketing blitz concluded, the commercial failure of Apocalypse was completely erased from the public memory. The Kickstarter controversies were reduced to a distant footnote. Intrepid's YouTube channel was generating unprecedented metrics. The terrifying warning signs of scope creep were completely ignored. And on July 14, 2021, the machine received its ultimate fuel.
At long last, years after years, they have been developing this game, And after a year of closely following
Yeah, Asmongold led all these people down a blind rabbit hole.
its development, we finally arrive at the
Down a blind money pit.
day that we have the opportunity to play the game for the first
He like Pied Piper these people into blowing millions of dollars on Steven Sharif.
time ourselves.
I knew it was happening at the time. I was like, nope, I'm better than this guy. I know the game's bad. I've seen this game. I've seen the gameplay. I know it's bad. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm just not bad.
The Alpha 1 weekend test was here, and it launched with 0 NDA agreements. For the first time, any backer who had purchased a top-tier
New World was such a better launch than this.
package,
Beta. Excuse me, beta.
or of course,
I played the New World beta and it was good.
content creators, could stream and show the game completely unedited, testing combat,
I remember we fought the bear. You know, I fought a bear. It was huge.
basic PvP systems, and other core features. All hail the savior of MMOs.
All hail the savior of MMOs, my fucking
But Salvation
ass.
carried a massive premium. For the players who missed the Kickstarter or the following shop packages, they were now able to purchase new access packages. But that's not the worst part. For a studio that had built its entire identity on rejecting the predatory, greed-driven mechanics of corporate publishers,
I've cleared like 10
Intrepid's
sites.
monetization model was remarkably
good.
cutthroat.
Oops.
From 2017 straight through 2024, the studio operated a relentless, monthly rotating storefront. They didn't just sell backer packages, they manufactured a highly weaponized fear of missing out, FOMO. Players were induced to purchase these packages bundled with limited time cosmetics for an unreleased game. In many instances, these items didn't even exist as digital assets. They were sold as flat pieces of concept art with no commercial release date in sight. Worse still, prior to the launch of Alpha 1, buying higher tier pledge packages double functioned as a financial lottery. Purchasing the pack merely granted a raffle ticket for a chance, 10 entries to be exact, for the $500 package to be invited to the earlier Alpha 0 tests. Wealthy users,
$500.
also known as whales, routinely purchased
See, Albion got me like this. Albion Online, they got a chunk of my money, $150. Because I was like, back in the day, back in like 2013, I was like, oh my god, a game that's actually good, that'll play across the different things like consoles and console and PC and cell phone. And I was like, a game that'll play on a cell phone that's just as good on the PC. And then it turned out to be this crappy isometric game, you know. And I was like, no, I don't like this game. It's so base and dumb. I don't like this game. And then I was like, I gave these people $150, and I never bought another expensive founder pack after that. Or have I? I'm sure I have, but I can't remember what it would be. Yeah, I don't remember any founder packs failing me after that. I was real like, oh yes, Tarkov. Tarkov fucked me. I bought like $280 worth of Tarkov, and I don't play that game. I think it's so milsimmy and shitty right-wing coded.
multiple identical packages simply to increase their
It's a good game, but it's so long and it's still so intensive, and the game's not optimized, and there's no building, and there's no there's like a place you can live, but it's not like the RP isn't good enough. You can't exit the place where you live and go to a staging or something like that. That's what they should do, but they don't. And it's like, yeah, the game's just not very good. It's just not good. Not good. And I know good, like compared to Rust is so much fucking better than Tarkov. And so I'm just like, I don't know, I'm spoiled too.
mathematical odds of
I have good taste in games. I'm just impatient, and I have bad taste. I have bad taste too. I'm into bad taste games.
selection. While modern online games inherently require sustainable monetization to
Something's missing from Enshrouded, or I would play that a lot more. It needs like a full open world with PvP.
survive, the absolute scale of the studio's pre-launch storefront bordered on the absurd. Before
PAX Day was exactly like this too. PAX Day was the same exact cash grab as this was. And they tried to sucker me into that one, and I almost bought it. And then I just returned it. Like an hour in, I returned it. I was like, nope, this isn't good enough. I'm taking that 2-hour refund. It's just not good enough. I knew it wasn't. Refresh. And Thunder. Haste. Yep. And then, yep, that's good. Oh, so I shouldn't cast Blink because Blink and Utsusemi don't stack, I guess, apparently. No, wait. Let's start with a nuke. Just, or no, let's start with dots. Dots are good. He bound me, but I mean, all I did was eat a shadow. Ooh, he's ways. I don't know. Like, is that 95? Doesn't look like 95 on the other bar. It looks like 98. Okay. I like the bigger health bar. I want to make it bigger. Let's scoot this over a bit, and let's just make it bigger. Yeah, like I'll make it bigger. HXUI. I want to come to the target bar, and I want to make it, yeah, with like, it's fat. Yeah, I want to make it bigger. Just make it bigger in general. I can't see my mouse, though. Yep, bigger like that. Oh, look how big you can make it. That's fucking sweet. Do that. And then just exit. Yep. I like the HX UI. It makes the game way better for me. He slept me. No, he didn't. Wait, why do I have him Blizzard? No, I don't have him Blizzard. Fire 2, bitch, burn. I'll go fight the Dalmal, because well, I don't know, is there aggro over here? I don't think there is. I'll go fight the Dalmal because he's easier. And I'll just use him to regen mana. Yeah, like he's easier to kill. That's in Blizzard. How did I get in Blizzard? It's weird. Oh wait. I want Why is that in Blizzard? Wait, what? I typed in Blizzard. I guess I don't like in Blizzard though. It's the loudest one. I want not in Blizzard. I want in Thunder. Or in Arrow. How about in Arrow? Because that one I don't think makes any noise. Switch up. No, wait. Okay, regen. It's a semi.
Core MMORPG had even delivered a stable build. The rotating marketplace had aggressively cycled through more than 300 limited edition exclusive cosmetics. According to the community, capturing the full catalog required a staggering total investment of over $9,000. When comparing to released MMOs like Final Fantasy XIV or World of Warcraft, the discrepancy was staggering. This did not look like the behavior of an independently wealthy purist funding a passion project out of his own pocket. It looked like an operation desperate for immediate liquidity. Yet, blinded by the dream, the community shielded the studio from any criticism. Rabid defense forces routinely silenced anyone pointing out the systemic hypocrisy of the store.
That was pretty much it for my time playing the Ashes of Creation Alpha 1 weekend. Overall, I had a great time playing the game, and by video game Alpha 1 standards, it's very impressive.
Alpha 1 then was generally received positively for such an early stage. Moreover, Intrepid soon announced a massive technological migration. They were abandoning their foundation to transfer Ashes of Creation to Unreal Engine 5. The visual upgrades were undeniable. The community celebrated the move as proof of Intrepid's commitment to cutting-edge technology. Everything looked great.
So for us, from a financial wherewithal and capability standpoint, we are capable of progressing the development of the project until completion, depending on how long that is going to take, obviously, but also from a sheer reward factor, you know, it's something we're really looking forward to see the launch of this game, because I do truly believe, based on the metrics that we're looking at, that this will be one of the largest and most successful MMOs.
But by 2023 and 2024, yes, 3 years later, the highly anticipated Alpha 2 phase was caught in a cycle of perpetual delays, and their FOMO tactics struck again. The famed rotating packages were suddenly removed towards the end of 2023, sending the community scrambling to buy $250 packs to gain access to Alpha 2. But there was someone who called it out early.
What's he gonna do next? What's he gonna do? Is he gonna stop selling Alpha 2 keys and then reintroduce Alpha 2 keys again 2 months before the Alpha 2? Is that what he's gonna do next? Holy shit, just like he did with Alpha 1. Do you guys remember that?
And sure enough, in August 2024, as Intrepid dropped its latest roadmap, the studio announced they were now selling standalone Alpha 2 testing keys for $100 to $120. Crucially, these keys were stripped of all traditional bundle value. They offered nothing but the right to test a fragmented, unfinished piece of software.
It is extremely important to remember, you are not purchasing access to a game. You are not purchasing access to an early access. You are purchasing access to testing Alpha 2.
After 7 years of waiting, players were still being treated as paying labor for a product with no end in sight. Intrepid scrambled to deploy damage control. Due to, quote, glorious feedback, they stuffed subscription time and premium currency back into the keys to pacify the masses. But the damage was done. Adding to this, early backers who had laid down hundreds of dollars under the explicit promise of exclusivity realized that their premium access was being diluted for cheap cash injections. People like me feel scammed by their FOMO tactics. I definitely would go back in time and not buy it
They made these
if I
huge
knew
promises.
they
They're
would go
piece
back
of
on
shit
their
developers.
promises
They
and just
lie.
buy the cheaper access.
You guys
This
don't know that
will
yet.
hunting
It's
behavior,
like, come on, grow
hoping
up.
to
Took me
squeeze
a
any
while,
possible
and I'm
dime out of
autistic.
desperate fans, utilizing FOMO, was all but evaporating any goodwill. But soon enough, the paper trail would caught up to them. On October 24, 2024, a stealthy thread materialized on Reddit. Ashes of Creation is a scam. A user digging through public state records discovered that Intrepid Studios had been officially suspended by the California Franchise Tax Board, meaning their business license was suspended for failure to pay taxes. Not only that, the following information revealed a reality that flatly contradicted years of Sharif's public messaging. To everyone's surprise, it had finally come to the public that the studio had quietly accumulated layers of outstanding debt, effectively external financing despite Steven claims of self-funding.
I think I want to go see live footage of, but I don't do this very often. We're looking for RuneScape, Dragon Wilds. RuneScape Dragon Wilds has got 8,000 followers and 170 viewers, which isn't that good of a sign. Viewers high to low. This person has 52 viewers, so I'll go join them. You're running some ads, so cool. This ad is terrible. Let's go. You should give me like 90 seconds first before you add me. Okay, here we go. Let's make it big. Look at that terrible tattoo he's got on his neck. And he's Horde. Fuck Horde. Ugh. It's a Horde gamer seat. The game looks okay. My main thing was like, how's the performance right now? This is another game that might be on the docket to buy, but I'm not really a RuneScape guy. This guy has a... I like the magic carpet. It is cool. Well, what's happening here? Oh, you are still not attacking. Why? I don't know. That guy will aggro, maybe. Let's go, motherfucker. Yeah, I like that. I like how that one sounds, yeah. I see suicided. It also messed up my UI where I was trying to do my thing. They did run that one. They ran that one and I missed it. Son of a bitch. Oh well. I don't know. It doesn't look that good to me. I mean, it looks okay. Get the mic closer to my mouth. There we go. I haven't watched a stream in a while. I will follow him. Goodbye, Green Sween. Thank you for the excellent content from the stream. I'd like to sub to your channel. Okay, so we go. Which is semi. An arrow. Haste. Refresh. I guess after I want on my macro for Utsu Semi, I also want to cast Stone Skin right after. Yeah, and then Phalanx. Stone Skin. Oops, no. Me. What's that, 10, I think? Yeah, Stone Skin's a long one. Or no, I think it's like 8. I think it's like 8. And then we do MA Phalanx. No, me. Yeah, I think that's right. And then, I mean, a regen wouldn't hurt. Like, you know, defensives. You know, this is like all my defensives. Like, in health never is like, health is the best defensive, really. So there's my defensive macro. It goes Ichi. And then Stone Skin. Oh, no, it is 10. Oops. So Stone Skin, that's enough. But, oh, you block. So if it blocks the macro writing menu, that's kind of bad because I can't see. Yeah, so it's a little too big. I see now that it's too big. We're going to fix it. So the scale of the target bar, it is all the way up, but we don't want it all the way up for the X scale. Little smaller like that. And then shut it. Yep. And now move it. Yeah, like that. That's perfect. And then in that way I can modify macros. I'm looking to Stone Skin to turn it to that. Weight 7, I think. Or maybe it's 8. Okay, so now we're going to Utsusemi. Stone Skin. Oh. Yep, and that's all my defensives, and I could do that in the fight. It's a bit expensive. By the end of it, you almost want to cast refresh. Just to pay for the time it took to cast a spell. Okay, so I don't know. A lot of that'll chain aggro. The Reaper's a good mob to fight. Let's fight him. I want him to come over here. Oh, he ate a bunch of my buffs, that bastard. I didn't get poisoned though. Oops. Yeah, 12 o'clock. Oh, good. Oh. Oh. These guys are here, huh? I wish we would pop higher ones, like better ones. That's okay. I should have dinner. I don't know what I shall have. I think I'll have sweet potato fries, oiled and fried on the pan, with some Parmesan. That's what I'll have. I'll be right back. Okay, so gonna get me some. Yeah, we'll have some of these too. A little bit of those. Okay. We'll throw some oil on this. Olive oil. And oh, look, it lit this time. That's good. Anyways, that'd be good. Oh, I'll throw some cheese on it. Defrosted here. And the olive oil and cheese is a great little garnish. Just great. Yeah. Good. Maybe a little bit more oil than that. Oh, my headphones are dying, damn it. Now, I need a fork to stir this with. Yep. And a bowl to put it in. Okay. You are done there. Take that up tomorrow. Oh, I've got to scoop the box. Damn it. So while I cook dinner and I run sites, oh, I gotta target this damn mob. My headphones died. I'll have to switch. I don't like the wind sound all the time. It's less oppressive if it's very low. I have to scoop the cat box, guys. I'm sorry. It's just gonna take a couple of minutes, but I'll run the video while I do that. We'll watch it. I'll be right back. Where did it go?
This was from someone named Jason Karaminis of the Yaya Legacy Fund in 2020, followed by someone else named Robert Dawson in 2024, and a lawsuit by Jason over a mandate to inspect the company's financial books and records. However, it had since been dismissed. While they were able to reactivate their status, the lawsuit by Jason and the suspension by the tax authorities, which was followed by another near suspension in 2023 for not submitting annual accounts, made the user suspect all of this the deception, Ashes of Creation, to be a scam. The loyal fanbase dismissed the thread as standard hater fiction. They chose to believe the dream. They chose to believe Steven Sharif. But inside the development pipeline, the reality of a 10-year development cycle was breeding immense friction. By late 2024, following a highly limited Alpha 2 weekend test, the slow rate of development could no longer be masked by fancy videos. In December 2024, a user created a Reddit thread titled, "Rant, the state of the desert made me realize that open development is not for me." He pointed out that the newly showcased desert biome looked like a massive technical regression from builds shown 2 years prior, and how Intrepid was failing to communicate properly. He tagged the prominent content creator Narc, who had spent years producing content and had equally shared the same frustrations. Whether he was right or wrong, Steven Sharif handled the criticism like an MLM commander whose downline was breaking ranks. There is nothing nefarious. It is very easy to sit back as an uninformed content creator and cast illusions to play on people's fears or negativity. It is easy to cultivate that audience when that is your focus. I will repeat this for your own mental health. Step away. We will be here when you are ready to return. Following this, together with the predatory practices surrounding the alpha access, the delays, Narc quit creating content and promoting Ashes entirely, eventually even deleting his whole channel.
You claim that open development isn't for us, but what I think you mean is that open development isn't for you, Steven Sharif, because what you're selling is not open development. It's funding at any cost, and if anyone questions it, you ban them. So, from the bottom of my heart, I have to apologize to everyone who I convinced to help support this project these last 4 years.
After Asmongold reacted to Narc's video, it exploded in the community. Steven decided to reply to Narc and Asmongold in video form, slamming Narc as a creator just farming clicks, dismantling his claims of the state of the desert biome.
He makes a claim that, what we show is not real or is fake to some degree or some way, and that's just completely false. He purposefully goes out to the edge of the desert in his video without giving any context to the viewers that this whole section of the desert exists. But, over the course of the last year, he went to a very negative place, and because of that, we didn't engage with him at all as a content creator, and I think that led to him creating this kind of negative echo chamber, which he became beholden to.
Asmongold then hosted a stream for both parties to say their piece. For over an hour, the multi-millionaire systematically dismantled a small content creator, aggressively defending his predatory alpha pricing structure and doubling down on Narc's supposedly overly negative content, curiously again, explicitly stating how much money he had invested.
So anybody that goes out there and says this is a scam, I am telling you that this game that I've sunk $55 million or more into over the course of the last 8 years,
So far.
myself personally so far, and will have to put in another 50 probably.
Yeah.
That you should not buy the game, and we have a 90-day refund policy on these $100 alpha keys.
Yeah.
And we do not have a minimum time requirement if people want a refund.
But throughout a chaotic 2025, the cracks could no longer be ignored. The project became an industry punchline, frequently mocked as Fantasy Star Citizen or Ashes of Copium. Delays to the subsequent Alpha 2 phases mounted continuously. The studio was spiraling, the debt was secretly mounting.
There's a level of financial independence that is not predicated, that has not historically been predicated on our engagement within the investing ecosphere of gaming. In order to bring to life this project.
And then, in November 2025, Intrepid Studios stunned everyone. Out of absolute nowhere, they announced that Ashes of Creation would bypass its remaining testing roadmaps and launch directly into Steam Early Access on December 11, 2025. To the casual observer, it looked like a bold, confident leap across the finish line. In reality, it was the final, desperate act of a dying dream.
This has been a big year for us, and 2026 is going to be an even bigger year for us.
Across social media, the community that had spent nearly a decade shielding Ashes of Creation from outside criticism began to fracture. To the purists, bypassing the remaining alpha roadmaps to launch on a global commercial storefront was a betrayal of everything they had been promised. To the onlookers, it was a train wreck in motion, and time to grab some popcorn. But Intrepid had to move the needle. They slashed the entry barrier, the $500 to $100 whale packages were discarded, replaced by a standard, far more accessible $50 price tag. Of course, they were still selling cosmetics, albeit separately.
We completely out of money. Are we broke, Dad?
No, we're not broke.
We're not broke, chat. You heard it here first. We're still going.
On December 1st, 2025, exactly 10 days before the scheduled Steam launch, Sarah Systems, Intrepid's cloud infrastructure provider, slapped the studio with a lawsuit for $850,000 of unpaid services. If an independent studio backed by a self-proclaimed multi-millionaire could not settle its basic server bills, the entire financial foundation could be compromised.
You know, we started in Kickstarter, although the majority of the financial backing for the studio is independent from yours truly.
Sharif immediately took to Reddit to downplay the crisis. He dismissed the litigation as a standard contract dispute, assuring backers that the money was inconsequential. To prove his financial stability, he casually dropped a statistic that left everyone stunned. Intrepid, he claimed, was now burning through $800,000 a week in operational expenses. For a mid-sized studio of roughly 250 employees, that burn rate was astronomical.
Everybody buckle up. I put a Brace for Impact GIF in the Discord of Picard and Riker. That is what it's going to be like literally at the studio in the war room. So be prepared. It's going to be crazy.
On December 11, 2025, the gates opened. On day one, the sheer gravity of decades worth of hype pulled in 30,000 concurrent players. To the average Steam user, the game was a clunky, heavily unpolished, and fundamentally fragmented experience that looked years away from a commercial market. Yet, the core loyalists saw the potential. The foundation was there. I'm already really enjoying Ashes of Creation as it is today, not because it's perfect, but because it has identity and soul, something most modern MMORPGs have lost. Slow progression, risk, meaningful consequences, PvP tension, and a shared world that remembers players' actions. That's why I'm here. Given 5 more years, a stable environment, and patient backing, Ashes of Creation might have carved out a highly lucrative, dedicated niche.
I think the game can absolutely recover from mixed if they can fulfill their vision, and in terms of player retention, it's actually looking really good. I was definitely expecting much more of a drop-off. If Intrepid can be quick to make updates, fix bugs, listen to player feedback, and add content, I honestly think the game will be fine.
But it didn't have 5 years. It had exactly 51 days. On January 22nd, 2026, after harvesting millions from Steam sales, the final avalanche began. It all started with a Reddit thread. Layoffs have hit Ashes of Creation developer Intrepid Studios. Steven Sharif immediately assumed the role of corporate fire extinguisher, treating the terminations not as a systemic failure, but as routine operational pruning. Recently, 9 people out of a team of about 250 were impacted as part of some targeted team adjustments. This was not a large-scale layoff and not a reflection of the health or the future of Ashes of Creation. In the history of corporate collapses, the phrase targeted adjustments is almost always the preface to total liquidation. Sharif assured the player base that the foundation was secure. It was an illusion that lasted exactly 9 days. On the evening of January 31, 2026, Margaret, the director of communications that so many fans knew from the project's famous streams, broke the news. Her time at Intrepid had come to an end. Following with a reply to a comment, everyone was part of a layoff. The news spread like wildfire. The rumors of it being a scam. Was this it after all these years? What about refunds? And sure enough, Steven made his appearance with an explosive announcement. I can make a limited statement in my personal capacity and not on the behalf of the company regarding the situation. Control of the company shifted away from me, and the board began directing actions that I could not ethically agree with or carry out. As a result, I choose to resign in protest rather than lend my name or authority to decisions I could not ethically support. It was a total unconditional abdication. The messiah of the indie MMO space had dropped his tools and walked out the door. As a consequence, the entire senior leadership team resigned in rapid succession. The studio was completely decapitated. With Sharif out of the way, the hidden board moved with absolute predatory efficiency. They issued immediate WARN Act notices and initiated a catastrophic mass layoff. A decade of development simply evaporated overnight. By early February, Steam took action, permanently pulling Ashes of Creation from sale. For the late-coming consumers who had purchased the $50 Steam Early Access build, the platform's refund policy offered an immediate.
I had to cook dinner, scoop the box, and do kitchen stuff and get some water and all that, and I'm done now, but you know, it takes a little bit.
Escape hatch. But for the true believers, the financial reality was a completely different story. The thousands of core backers who had poured millions in total into Intrepid's private web store since 2017 and the Kickstarter backers found themselves trapped behind a brutal legal technicality. By forcing the unfinished Alpha 2 onto Steam as a commercial, early access product, Intrepid had achieved a critical legal milestone. A commercial launch on an open storefront fulfilled the technical definition of a delivered product. The pledge promises had been legally satisfied. Any potential refunds were now much harder to achieve through bank disputes or even chargebacks.
I turned it
Convenient.
down. There we go.
This sucks. And if you are out there and you played this game because of me, I'm sorry.
Nope, I didn't.
I mean, you would
You
be
didn't
right.
Piper
I mean,
me.
like, no,
You
it was
idiots-
so
you
promising.
right-wingers
It looked so
did not
good.
Piper
Everything
me.
about it looked amazing.
But I look like a massive clown, and I'm just gonna have to take an L for my coverage of this game throughout its entire existence, I guess.
But as the smoke cleared over the carcass of Intrepid Studios, a far more disturbing question emerged. What did Steven Sharif mean by the board? From the very first day of the Kickstarter campaign, Sharif had anchored his entire moral authority on a singular claim.
I'm personally funding the project to completion.
He had explicitly stated that
Yeah, where did this, I'm gonna get all these Kickstarter stuff going and Steam sales when you were supposed to pay for the game. You said you would pay for the game.
Intrepid had no publishers, no external investors, no shareholders. To the public's absolute knowledge, the governing board of Intrepid Studios consisted of exactly two people: Steven Sharif, the chief executive officer, CEO, and John Moore, the chief financial officer, his husband.
I am telling you that this game that I've sunk $55 million or more dollars into over the course of the last 8 years,
So far.
myself personally, so far,
But as the first lawsuits were filed, the unsealed documents tore away the final layers of corporate deception. There was indeed a larger board, and it was populated by ghosts. Before we can dissect the legal warfare that tore Intrepid Studios apart in early 2026, we must identify the hidden actors lurking in the ledger. But the critical boundary must be established before going any further. These claims are active legal allegations, not established facts. With multiple lawsuits currently winding through the system, a definitive legal resolution remains years away. Until the final gavel strikes, the objective truth is split between two competing, highly volatile narratives. We must try to evaluate both sides of the mirror with absolute detachment, mapping the evidence exactly as it stands today. So, enter Jason Karaminis.
I built my business with the philosophy that there is nobody in this room that I am better than, but there is nobody that is better than me.
Starting in 2017, even before the Kickstarter campaign ever went live, Karaminis quietly began injecting millions into Intrepid Studios through a complex convertible debt agreement via the Yaya Legacy Trust. Contractually, Karaminis wasn't initially classified as an investor, he was a creditor. Intrepid was borrowing his capital with a dangerous caveat: pay the loans back with interest or forfeit studio equity. Through text messages that Jason shared with a YouTuber, Nefes QS, revealed an extraordinary psychological underlayer. Sharif systematically love-bombed Karaminis, pitching him an absurdly lucrative business. He compared the monetization of Ashes of Creation directly to Fortnite, mapping out the astronomical revenue a modern MMORPG could extract. How they had the opportunity to claim the entire market as everything failed around it. And it perfectly contextualized his public bravado during the 2017 Kickstarter launch, where he casually boasted to media outlets that he had very good friends from previous business endeavors who were dying to invest.
Yo, Jeanette!
Because you see, Karaminis was a veteran of the predatory supplement underworld, a close business associate of Steven Sharif's own mother, the MLM Queen. Karaminis boasted the title of Imperial Diamond Director for Genes Global, a multi-billion-dollar juggernaut specializing in cellular rejuvenation and anti-aging skincare products.
You know, we've celebrated 14 years of becoming one of the fastest companies to build to $1 billion in the entire history of network marketing.
Karaminis had also been involved with Vima, the exact MLM that resulted in Alkazine's lifetime federal ban. By 2019, after a series of frantic, repeated emergency cash requests, Karaminis' mounting loans officially converted into equity for a total of $12.5 million. The creditor, Jason, had officially become a shareholder. The private correspondence reveals that behind the scenes, Intrepid was caught in a state of chronic financial starvation. As early as 2019, the studio was actively scrounging for basic payroll capital. That same year, Sharif believed he had engineered the ultimate solution. Yet another investor. This time, it came from China. Documents originally shared by the YouTuber Nefes and Jason revealed that in 2019, Sharif attempted to secure a massive $60 million investment with iDream Sky, a prominent Chinese mobile gaming publisher. But the deal collapsed at the finish line, plunging Intrepid into a catastrophic
I wonder why. They're like, this white guy
crisis.
seems greedy.
Sharif repeatedly returned to Karaminis, begging for additional capital, continuing with the sales pitches. This company will be the largest MMO in history, bigger than WoW's 13 billion. How he had spent his month's help promising astronomical returns once the alpha testing phases drove public hype. 2021, the company is going to buy you your own jet and name it the Karaminis Gulfstream. These grand promises, while completely delusional, do feel reminiscent of something else. Something Steven was very familiar with, MLM recruitment tactics, but the standalone Battle Royale spin-off, Apocalypse, flopped spectacularly. Steven needed yet more funding, but Karaminis' patience was wearing thin. He wasn't seeing any returns, culminating in furious texts.
Do you understand me now, bro?
I'll kill
Go
you,
cry
bro.
to your husband, bro. Not me. I am in no mood to be happy now. I said I'm getting a fucking loan, and as soon as I have money, I will help. But you can't seem to do anything here. It baffles my mind why you're a business owner. I am so fucked I can't see straight, and I asked you to politely go find another source for a week or two.
By 2020, the operation required a far bigger shark, and Karamini served as the ultimate gateway. Karamini's introduced Sharif to his premier multi-level marketing contact, Robert Dawson, the chief legal officer of Jeunesse Global and the ultimate
They're all like
architect
criminals.
of Intrepid's demise. Dawson, operating through an entity called TFE Games Holdings, poured in a total a staggering $80 million into Intrepid over a 4-year window as volatile convertible debt-based loans. They had become the primary source of funds and a majority shareholder. These shadow investors stabilized the game's finances for nearly 4 years. So why the sudden collapse post the Steam launch? Well, on February 9, 2026, Robert Dawson and TFE Game Holdings launched their devastating legal strike against Stephen Sharif and John Moore. The lawsuit alleged systematic financial misconduct, breach of fiduciary duty, and the outright embezzlement of studio funds, accusing the couple of siphoning millions to underwrite their personal lifestyles and pay off private debts. Specific allegations included over $200,000 spent on DoorDash, more than $700,000 on Amazon purchases, and
he's
even the
smart.
use of
Wow.
studio funds to aid their purchase of their personal home. According to the claims, Sharif and Moore, while serving as CFO, directed over $4 million in personal payments to themselves and family members, including Tom Alkazine. These transfers allegedly stopped once Moore was replaced as CFO. More on that later, as well as evident by those previous text messages to Jason Karamini's alleged misrepresentation of Ashes of Creation's earning potential over multiple years, delayed alpha phases, and revenue that generated only a fraction of Sharif's own projections. In total, approximately $21 million in outflows allegedly lacked any legitimate business purpose. And the most shocking of all was their allegation that Sharif publicly and falsely represented that funding came directly from him, while he was sourcing it mainly from third-party investors, which at this point, the debt was in excess of $130 million.
He might be a good creative director, he might be a good gamer, but everything else is full of shit. So when you don't have to spend any of your own money, like zero, and you're just on everyone else's fucking tit, sucking everyone's tit, okay, like he was, spending everyone's money.
Went to Kickstarter, not really as a means for funding. You know, I'm personally funding the entire project.
By this point, Dawson and
Tracks
TFE
begin
effectively
to
owns
show.
every asset inside the building, including the IP of Ashes of Creation. Intrepid defaulted on its debts and was subsequently foreclosed. Basically, the board's and Jason's narrative was simple. Stephen Sharif was a classic, overhyped internet scammer who had no idea how to operate a multi-million-dollar company, and now they were seeking justice over the millions they poured into it. For a large part of the community, this confirms their absolute worst fears. The master marketeer had finally run out of runway, but things were about to get a whole lot more messy. On February 18 and through the following months, Sharif launched his counter-narrative. Sharif claimed he wasn't the predator, he was the victim. His filings exposed Dawson's entire investment strategy as a textbook predatory loan-to-own takeover scheme. According to Sharif, Dawson and his inner circle had been systematically plotting the hostile takeover of Intrepid Studios since 2022. The countersuit alleged that Dawson consistently backdated paperwork and manipulated debt agreements to make his loans look older and cheaper than they actually were, a deliberate strategy engineered to let him grab a massive percentage of the company at a fraction of the value. But tucked deeper inside Sharif's evidence log was a revelation that completely reshaped the history of the project. through this email in 2022, a major video game developer, Riot Games, who was actively building their own MMORPG at the time, approached Intrepid with a massive offer for Ashes of Creation. The deal represented a staggering $250 to $500 million institutional backing. It seemed like a match made in heaven. Sure, it would have enraged the community built on promises of total independence, but the partnership of that scale would have guaranteed the technical resources required to actually finish the game. But Robert Dawson allegedly blocked the play, strongly advising Sharif to reject the acquisition. A year later, in 2023, a paranoid Sharif explicitly confronted Dawson about a potential boardroom coup. Me? Take control? You are on too many drugs, man. You really think I want to control it? No. In most, I want to vote my economy. Interests, like any investor. And unless you think I'm an idiot, you would know I'm voting with you. This is going to end ugly. But if you think better to have Riot vote and control than me, then by all means, go for it. But as the studio's burn rate accelerated through 2023 and 2024, the mask...
They should have taken Riot's money. They're stupid. They should have taken Riot's money and made Ashes of Creation. The community would have accepted it. People universally love Riot because of fucking Lord of the Ring, or sorry, League of Legends, and so they can do no wrong. If League of Legends steps in and entices Stephen Shree to actually make Ashes of Creation real, they should have taken the offer. But no, these criminals are there to just scam people.
Of the passive investor complete.
So they turned down a $250 million payday, which is insane. In Riot's words, not theirs. Riot sent this email being like, yeah, we'll pay you $250 million if you make, if you fucking make Ashes of Creation. We were tossing it around the other day, and we realized that, we would probably pay like, 1/16 of our value to get our hands on a real Ashes of Creation that we own. And they should have just taken it and made the game. They're fucking stupid, but they're not really video game makers. They're just liar MLM people.
Game off. Sharif alleged that Jason Caramini...
They're just liars from MLM fucking circles, and they're disgusting. They're disgusting pig human beings. They're pig fuckers, Kitty. They're pig fuckers, huh? They're pig fuckers, Kitty. They're pig fuckers.
...had effectively been installed as Dawson's enforcer. A highly volatile individual.
They were pig fuckers looking to fuck money pigs.
Deployed to threaten and coerce the studio into submission. Behind the scenes of your dream indie MMORPG, the executive dynamic had evolved into an absolute nightmare. Dawson would routinely threaten to withhold immediate payroll funding unless Sharif signed amended articles or agreements that slowly stripped away his authority. And where Dawson used paperwork, Caramani's used terrifying raw thuggery that actually escalated to physical threats. Get this shit done tomorrow or your life is over on Tuesday when business opens. You are lucky I have Rob's back, otherwise I would fuck your whole world up. Hope I'm clear, you are a piece of shit. These were...
Why does he keep saying fucking with E? You see fucking with an E? What does that mean?
Controversial multi-level marketing executives role-playing as full-on street-level gangsters. But amidst all of Sharif's defenses, there is a glaring
piece of shit criminal
uncomfortable
software developers are.
truth that his narrative conveniently glosses over. Intrepid Studios was completely starved for resources. They were entirely dependent on Dawson, Caramani's and other investors just to cover basic payroll, and the millions being funneled into the studio's accounts were vanishing into a financial black hole.
Rob wrote you checks. I wrote you checks, okay? The TFD Games Company wrote you checks, okay? Tom wrote you checks. Aaron wrote you checks. Everyone wrote him checks. Has he given anybody any return on investment? Has he done anything? What's he gonna say?
What we do know is that the sharks had him by the throat. It was either Sharif or his employees. So according to Steven, his best play was to play along to keep his employees safe. It got so bad that Steven was allegedly forced to approve a warrant providing Dawson 10% of the company for literally $10.
What?
It was then in May 2024 that Dawson converted all outstanding debt into equity, officially making himself the majority shareholder and seizing absolute control of the company. In time, he structured a 5-man board composed mostly of veteran executives with zero connections to game development. He removed Sharif's
That'll
husband,
help.
John Moore, as CFO,
A good
replacing
executive,
him
more
with Ryan
executives will
Ogden,
fix
the
it.
CFO of Jeunesse Global. Ogden was immediately instructed to open a new corporate account at Pathway Bank, a financial institution that Dawson conveniently owned. Dawson's alleged directive to Steven reveals the absolute nature of this new board. I want you guys in the lead and me hidden in the background as ownership. Never would be in the forefront. And one of the most shocking allegations is that Steven claimed this wasn't Dawson's first rodeo. Just months prior, a co-founder of Jeunesse Global had filed a massive lawsuit accusing Dawson of utilizing loans from his personal bank to systematically extract millions from the company founder. A sinister business model, if proven true. But there was still a question lingering in the air regarding Steven Sharif. Did he actually invest his own fortune into the game?
No.
In his official statement, he did claim that was accurate. Much of the capital provided to the company came through lenders who extended financing based on my personal guarantees and collateralization of my own assets and equity. I put my own financial future on the line to build this project and keep it alive for as long as possible. While judges and lawyers can truly define that, to the public, relying on loans, financing does not equal true self-funding, and was that exact tactic of lending that brought on the project's major issues. Regarding the board is another story. Sharif rigidly maintained that he never misled his audience about who was running the ship, stating from 2015 up until the 2024 boardroom takeover, the company's absolute ownership was strictly isolated to 3 sole shareholders: himself, his husband, John Moore, and an individual identified simply as Tom, as in Tom Al-Kazin. However, Steven had never once mentioned the existence of a 3rd shareholder, as far as my findings go. Which brings us to the ultimate question. What was the Shadowboard's true objective for Ashes of Creation? According to information available, the board allegedly engineered 2 parallel tracks. Step 1 was a formal foreclosure to legally transfer every single asset of Intrepid directly into Dawson's personal holding company, TFE Games Holdings, effectively attempting to isolate or avoid the debts of Intrepid, basically providing a clean slate for future development. Step 2 was to violently downsize the studio, laying off 70% of the core staff to run a skeleton crew operation. To fund this pivot, they allegedly forced the sudden, erratic December 2025 Steam Early Access launch, an operational move that made absolutely zero development sense, but perfect financial sense. The board plans to allegedly hijack the massive influx of Steam revenue, allegedly with original plans to have a $100 box price and a $20 subscription, insane but still cheaper than many previous packages, and routing the revenue directly into Dawson's new Pathway Bank account, rather than allegedly utilizing it to pay down the studio's oldest loans. In particular to a bank.
I'm gonna make $100 million right here for sitting around for 10 minutes, and this is so much money. I made so much money today. I'm not died. I'm doing so good. Something changed in Faction Warfare where my luck is just better, and I'm making all this money and stuff. I didn't need that other corp. Ice is slow compared to this. They actually maybe did me a favor. I never would have come to do all this stuff. I don't think. I don't know. I would have, but I would have probably focused around like being around them more. Damn, all those coercers, they really actually, like, do a lot of damage, damn. There's so much money in this. There's so much money in what this guy's doing. Sea talks. Oh my god. His coercers will chew anybody else that comes up here too. Gonna make so much money here. Gonna make 100 mil here in about a minute. Well, 2 minutes probably. Okay, get back down, I guess, and we'll rebuff.
Commerce West. While they alleged that Steven only wanted to pay back the loan to Commerce West because the loan was backed by his own home.
He had Commerce Bank send a letter stating that that money was Commerce's banks. So Commerce Bank would get that money because they had a secured position against his house on the money that he originally borrowed for the company. Well, that was the money for our payroll.
On January 16, the board officially executed the foreclosure after purposely, according to Steven, accruing vendor debts such as the service provider. It's official, the foreclosure is complete. TFE Holding owns all of the assets, said a Dawson text. Their new blueprint was absolute lunacy. They intended to finish the development of the entire MMORPG by September 2026, on a budget of $12 million. To achieve this, they planned the mass layoffs, withholding severance packages from the departing team. An internal email from newly appointed board member Aaron Bartels exposes the absolute cold approach of the boardroom. These are bottom performers, who have already been paid more than they deserve. Who listens to a poor performer who gets whacked? Any suit against us will be against the old entity that will have no value in a week. Let's not pay either. Still, looking strictly at the facts, it is hard to deny that the studio desperately needed a radical intervention just to keep the lights on. Steven Sharif himself explicitly confirmed a grueling $150 million of capital had already been entirely consumed by the project, yet the game was still in a raw early alpha stage. At this point, you have to look past the boardroom warfare and confront the systemic reality. Perhaps the original development model was just terribly managed. Or more realistically, the grand illusion of Ashes of Creation was simply fundamentally doomed from the start. In a final desperate counter-move, Steven Sharif notified their primary creditors at Commerce West Bank of the hidden foreclosure and the board's secret plan to divert the Steam revenue away from their loan agreements. Then, on January 19, he typed out his official resignation. He refused to be the public face of a mass layoff he had no part in designing. But here's where the entire board narrative completely fractures. Despite later painting Steven Sharif as an incompetent manager who was actively embezzling millions of dollars, the moment his resignation hit the boardroom table, the board coerced him to return to the studio if he simply cooperated with the foreclosure and threatened to shut down the company if he didn't comply. Which begs the question, why would the board offer to reinstate a man
This went from I was going to make 100 mil to I have half a shift left, like one of the 2 ships left. So dumb. I thought he was going to attack these guys, but it is this guy.
they genuinely believed was actively robbing their company. Ultimately, no deal could be struck, and the people who took the absolute brunt of this executive power struggle were the developers and the players. The planned 70% downsize instantly devolved into a total operational shutdown. Intrepid Studios closed its doors, and that Steam revenue, which rounded to about $5 to $8 million, Valve noticed the conflicting bank accounts, saw the wave of terrified player refund requests, and immediately terminated the partnership, permanently freezing the capital while the studio bled out in the dark. So, what is the final verdict? Was Steven Sharif an innocent, naive creator, coerced by multi-level marketing sharks, or a master recruiter who finally ran out of cards to play? Well, on May 1st, 2026, the judge officially dismissed the Robert Dawson's Board lawsuit against Steven Sharif without prejudice, meaning the door is closed right now, but could be open later. Sharif immediately took a public victory lap on Discord, claiming absolute vindication. He vowed to maintain his countersuit against TFE Holdings, defeat the cartel in court, regain absolute ownership of the IP, and one day rebuild Ashes of Creation from the ashes of liquidation. But for everyone else, the devastation remains absolute. The developers are still out of a job, left to sue a defunct corporate husk for their unpaid wages. The studio dead, and the game effectively with it. And the thousands of longtime backers who poured millions into the dream since 2017 are left with absolutely nothing. And to end it, if you think this ongoing drama and lawsuits couldn't get any more crazy, it was claimed as I was editing this video that on the day of the mass terminations, leadership staff were physically shown on surveillance cameras removing server hardware from the studio's data center and hiding it in a storage shed. Yes, that is one of the claims with photo evidence. Ultimately, there is no clean conclusion to be found inside the wreckage. What remains is multiple question marks on a highly volatile, completely fragmented disaster, an absolute mess of conflicting depositions and mutual betrayal that will drag through the legal system and the public for years to come. But what we can deduce from both sides is a grim reality. The proud claim that Steven Sharif was prepared to personally bankroll the entire project was always far more complicated than the studio let on. Sharif routinely relied on massive, high-interest loans just to stay afloat, utilizing his deep multi-level marketing connections to keep the lights on. It was this exact reliance on debt that directly invited the very same people that he claimed caused this whole mess. And even if Steven Sharif is completely cleared of all legal wrongdoing when the final gavel strikes, the deception remains. While Sharif may legally argue that accumulating massive private debt can still constitute absolute self-funding, in the court of public opinion, that statement has been shattered. Steven Sharif allegedly searched for capital across the globe, trading equity through loans in the dark, selling massive dreams of Fortnite-scale revenue to MLM execs, all the while aggressively weaponizing a relentless FOMO factory to extract millions in raw capital from a desperate and exhausted player base, and all for an incomplete game. And remember that referral program that heavily skewed towards content creators? Well, they got nothing, and people were only left with a bunch of intrepid bucks embers on a defunct website. Whether the investors from Keramanes to Dawson were driven by malice or just trying to protect their investments and hopefully turn a bleeding company around through drastic measures, we are left to pick which side of this toxic boardroom war is marginally less corrosive than the next. Yet, there is a deeply tragic paradox at the absolute heart of this destruction. It is entirely plausible that, at the same time, Steven Sharif and especially his core developers truly loved the genre, that they were genuinely trying to build the ultimate monument to the golden age of MMORPGs. But in the end, it wasn't just a boardroom coup that executed Ashes of Creation, it was the crushing weight of the sunk cost fallacy, a grueling 10-year timeline over $150 million with zero returns. If projects with tens of thousands of active players like New World fail, what hope was there for an independent studio trying to engineer the most complex MMORPG in existence? And as the vultures continue to tear apart the corpse of the project in the courts, the MMORPG community is left exactly where it started, beaten, fleeced, and waiting in the dark for a savior that may never come.
Fuck was that? What? I don't know.
Get your hand off that flesh stick for 2 seconds. I got some really important information to tell you guys. I can't believe it. We've actually got some crazy news today, and it's absolutely disgusting and disruptive to my entire vision I had of Donald Trump. See, I thought Donald Trump was a liar, a manipulator, just a worthless man, best friend of Jeffrey Epstein. I didn't know that he's also an abuser when it comes to provocative natures. I didn't know that. I just assumed he was many things. I assumed he was representative of what America was. But it turns out he really is what America is. Just disgusting and nasty and vitriolic. Today, the Supreme Court has decided unanimously to deny Donald Jamarcus Trump his plea deal against a woman he abused provocatively many moons ago. This is interesting. Donald Trump says his assault case is really against the USA and all it stands for. He claims a fake case that he never met Jean Carroll and that her claim of defamation is ridiculous. He was found liable for both assault and defaming her. Now, this is pretty much open information. I read through all 312 pages of this, and it is disgusting. The reason this video even took so long, I was reading this earlier on. This is really gross. It's nasty, but if you want the end of verdict, you go to page 312. You get the end verdict at page 312. If you want to read through all this, I have this pinned in the top comment under my GoFundMe. You go ahead and just check this out. This is insane. It is really, really bad. It is wildly bad. He has to pay $5 million to Jean Carroll about this entire thing. Now, the reason I'm talking about why it's so good is because this happened in 2023. It's a civil conviction, by the way. I want to point this out. It's not a criminal charge. It's a civil conviction. So it happened in civil court, because going after Donald Trump criminally would be so much work. He can't go to jail. He genuinely can't go to jail for that. So Donald Trump is probably going to get sued a whole lot, because if this is any, I guess, example of how a case is going to go for Donald Trump, this is looking bad. Because I was reading through this whole thing. It was bad. Everything he said was in here. Every mean statement he said, every news interview, all that stuff. The reason the case took so long for the Supreme Court to review it is because he has so many statements that he was saying that were just messed up and evil and just horrible towards this woman. Here goes the fun part. Here goes really, really, really crazy. In making the statement, Donald Trump acted maliciously out of hatred, ill will, spite, or wanton reckless or willful disregard for the rights of another. Yes. If this is for defamation, hundreds of thousands of people can sue Donald Trump because it's evil. Now, this is really fun. I know that his base doesn't read and they hate reading, but he posted something today. Surprisingly, the Supreme Court declined to review, in quotations, a fake case brought against me by a woman I never met. This is interesting. Of course they're not going to review a fake case. Why would they review a fake case? It doesn't make any sense. Why would they ever review a fake case? Well, that doesn't make any sense. That's ridiculous. Decades-old celebrity photo line standing with her husband does not count. So this is really interesting. There's one photo of them together. Now, Jean Carroll is stating that Donald Trump abused her in a provocative nature, which he did. He actually admitted to it in the court case. It's actually really, I forgot the exact point in here, is somewhere around the 250 pages, somewhere around that range. He admitted to it. He admitted to it in here. He actively admitted to it. He didn't even know he admitted to it. I will continue the fight against this weaponization and lawfare case against me, including the ridiculous claim of defamation, with all my power and strength. This is very important. Donald Trump, I don't think, knows what defamation means. I'm not quite sure. I don't know. But he has defamed.
No, I don't think so.
Many people. So many people he's defamed. This case is really against the United States of America. Oh, interesting. And all it stands for. It should never be allowed to happen to another president or a candidate to be. I like how he's stating as if, if this can happen to me, this can happen to anybody. No, I think it can just happen to you because you're evil. I really think it's just going to happen to you because you're really wicked, man. You're like a wicked guy. Like, generally speaking. New York State created a law for an instant speck of time going back many decades in order to wrongfully nab me. They created a law just for you.
Wrongfully nab you.
Just for you. It was tailor-made, and this injustice cannot be allowed to stand. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. It's so interesting. It's so cool. Now, this is fun, right? They're blaming the Supreme Court justices. Now, these are the current members of the Supreme Court justice, right? We got John G. Roberts Jr., Clarence Thomas, Samuel A. Alito. We got Sonia Sotomayor. We got Elena Kagan, Neil M. Gorish. We got Brett M. Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, and then Ketanji Brown Jackson. And then these people. Right now, this is very important, right? Who do you think Republicans are blaming? I'll give you a hint. I should give you another hint. Who do you think Republicans are blaming? I'll give you a hint. Because it's not anybody else. They're really just blaming all the black people. Black people love assaulting people. It's crazy. I've seen so many comments. I don't want to go through them because they really make me pissed. I've read so many crazy statements about this entire thing. But I want to go and talk about one specific statement that really made me super excited because the Supreme Court denied it. By the way, a Supreme Court that he chose. He chose the entire Supreme Court. So here goes the fun part, right? This is Mary L. Trump. Now, who's Mary L. Trump? Mary L. Trump. This is kind of cool. Mary L. Trump is Donald Trump's niece. At last, E. Jean Carroll just kicked Donald Trump's ass once and for all. What a legend she is. Time to pay up, Donald.
Time to pay up, Donald.
This is amazing. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. The principal interest over the accrued interest is it's crazy. All this is just beautiful. I love every single second of this. I love it so much. Because for years, right, I have heard the phrase repeated over and over again whenever Donald Trump's legal issues came up. Well, we gotta let the courts decide. Let the courts decide. This rallying cry, it became the conversation ender. Well, you can say that, but what do the courts think? What do the courts think? And then he stacked the Supreme Court in his favor just to lose. Every discussion was shut down with that sentence. Every criticism was answered with the same patient, reasonable demand. Wait for the legal process. Trust the system. Let the evidence speak. Allow the institutions to do their work. That was the standard. That was the expectation. Well, the legal process happened. A jury found Donald Trump liable for SA and defaming E. Jean Carroll. They awarded her $5 million in damages, and then over time, I believe she's getting paid $88 million because of the accrued interest over that. Multiple appeal verdicts.
But his sexual assault put his ass in jail.
So much stuff. And then the Supreme
Put the criminal
Court
in jail when he sexually
that's
assaults
so embarrassing. I don't think you understand how embarrassing that is. He chose everybody specifically in the Supreme Court right now, and he lost. That's crazy. Do you know how bad a case has to be if your own homies are like, yeah, this is bad, dude. That's insane. That's crazy. Oh my God, the reaction online has been so fascinating because so many of the people who demanded patience seemed unwilling to accept the outcome they insisted everyone wait for. I feel as though everybody was waiting for this, right? Maybe you didn't know about this case. I remember 2023, I wanted to talk about this, but I got MAGA hate rated by people. They're like, oh, yeah, you're just talking about it because you hate Donald Trump. I said, you know what? I'll wait because I know what's going to happen. I am so vindicated right now. I can feel every pore on my body getting cleansed. I'm exfoliated in many capacities. The sunlight, the UV rays, the DNA is getting shifted. I'm gonna grow 100 feet tall like a beanstalk. I am a man of 6 feet tall. I tower like a giant in a world that is defined of my height. I say hi, but no reply. Because the letters that you write, because I found some peace of mind. I am so happy. Christopher Drew, by the way, horrible man now, but great day back, grand back in the day. Never shall never. Shout out Vans Warped Tour. I'm so happy. Oh my God, the entire point of respecting the judicial process is accepting that cases are argued, get this evidence presented, juries deliberate, judges review their record, and you can see the entire record in the top comment. It's crazy. Social media is already splitting itself into so many different realities. One side is celebrating the decision, saying, oh yeah, this is great, guys. We did it. Wrap it up. This is good. This is amazing. This is good. And the other is saying, well, nothing really happened.
Yeah.
So what if one woman convicted Donald Trump of a little bit of assault and abuse? We've all done it, right, guys? Which is just crazy. I think it's nuts. It's insane. It's really, really bad. There's something so ironic about watching people who spent years insisting institutions should be respected immediately dismiss those same institutions the second the ruling becomes inconvenient. That's weird. I think that's strange. It's really telling about how this I can only phrase it as a cult. This case has gone through years of litigation. It's not some snap judgment. There were witnesses, testimonies, motions, appeals, repeated reviews by higher courts. Trump's legal team could not argue against this because it was that bad. And Trump is the president of the United States. And during this time, he had billions of dollars to toss at this case. Jean Carroll did not. She did not. She just didn't have that. Like, pretending the legal process never happened ignores how extensive that process actually was. 3 years, mind you. Right? 3 years. 3 straight years. The internet is probably going to spend the next several decades arguing over every technical detail, every headline, every political implication. I think that's the nature of, I guess, modern politics. It's just going to be content for a long time. I just think that's what's going to happen. None of this means that it doesn't mean anything. I don't think it means anything. I think today marks another chapter in one of the most scrutinized legal battles involving a modern president. It's very strange. The Supreme Court denied the appeal. We got a $5 million judgment for her. This is amazing. And then his niece, Donald Trump's niece, said, "Hey, get out of here. I hate you." This is so beautiful. It's very, very beautiful. I love it so much. I really, really do. Imagine your own family hates you. That's disgusting, dude. That's disgusting.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the Bjork one was really good.
There's simply no way around the numbers. Donald Trump's approval rating in his second term has completely collapsed.
New polling shows President Trump's approval rating has taken a hit.
This new polling shows that President Trump's disapproval rating has hit a record high,
with his approval rating now sinking to a new low.
But some groups matter more than others, and one group matters a whole lot. That's young men. Take a look at this stat. In 2024, men under 30 prefer Donald Trump to Kamala Harris by about 1 percentage point. But in recent polling this year, men under 30 have widely disapproved of Donald Trump, and his approval rating is underwater by 55 points. A stunning
She would have just done nothing.
Now, I wanted to dig in further with these numbers at an event that was specifically geared to target this group. So I went to Washington, D.C. for Donald Trump's UFC event to talk to young men about the president. Do we think he's still cool? Have young men really turned on Donald Trump? Let's dig in. Why'd y'all decide to come out today?
Oh, proud to be American. We got free tickets. It's just gonna be a great time. That's about it.
One question we have is, would you say you're here for Trump or UFC?
UFC all the way. UFC.
UFC has a lot of culture, a lot of different people from a lot of different places, and that's what America is to me.
You definitely see diversity. You definitely see a lot of different types of people. You see a different type of vibe. But one of the things that is really clear is, like, you know, Trump used UFC to kind of pitch himself to young men in the campaign trail and things like that. And there seems to be that, like, younger men really liked him in 2024-ish. Do y'all think that's true? And then, like, is that still true?
I feel like he just knows how to advertise himself to the younger crowd.
Why do we think Trump and men seem to have a connection?
I mean, I guess his views.
What do you mean?
That's a good question.
Just like
I'm like, why do we think this is true, right?
Yeah, just the way he views everything, I guess, is it's like similar with how younger people.
It aligns with masculinity, I feel like, to a certain extent.
Like, is it how he talks? Is it the policy? Like, what would we say specifically?
Well, at first it was what he was promising to America. But
What do you mean?
He was promising lower prices on everything. We didn't know wars were going to start with other countries. It was like the younger generation, they see this stuff, they see everything online, and it's like...
He was promising change.
Yeah,
Yes,
promising
absolutely.
big change. Yeah, exactly.
The question I have is, has he lived up to that?
No.
I wouldn't say so. I would say so.
Not at
I'm
all.
disappointed. We're disappointed.
I guess what I was going to ask about. You mentioned no new wars. You mentioned kind of, gas price, whatever you want to make. I'm like, what do you think has been the disconnect in the second term?
I'm middle class. I want things that affect my life. I want to see change in my regular day-to-day. It's like, and I don't see that.
You mentioned disappointed. Why?
Just because he's not living up to what he said he was gonna do, you know? He said he was anti-war. He said he was gonna lower prices, and we're just not like. That result is just not happening. You know, we're not seeing it.
Yeah. I mean, do y'all feel the same way?
I'm saying, yeah, absolutely.
Prices are ridiculous. Gas.
$5.64.
Don't even get me started on gas. I don't even want to fill my gas tank no more.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Trump definitely used to seem cool. Like, do we think he's still cool? Question mark.
I feel like after the Epstein files and everything, should have just like
That's
ramped up with how he's been acting. I feel like it was a lot more chill before that. I feel like everything he's doing now is like negate that, like what happened with that.
Like, what we say that the
No,
Epstein files,
what
you think was the
happened to
break between like maybe when some of this
There was a lot of things.
Yeah.
I think the wars.
I think that that definitely separated a lot of people, especially young people. You know, because no one likes pedophiles. You know, no one likes to that and. The way that it's portrayed, at least it seems like there's trying to be some sort of cover-up.
Yeah. Okay, last question will be like, the ways that Trump was trying to appeal to young men and pitch himself, like, does that apply to people after him? Like, can J.D. Vance do the same thing? Do y'all like these? Is there another politician, maybe even not Republican, that you like the way they're acting? Or is this like a specific Trump phenomenon?
Thomas Massey.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
Anyone else who you see across the landscape and you're like, I like that person?
I mean, I don't really keep up with politics, to
Fair.
be honest, so I feel like even if someone does do this after Trump, it just won't be at the scale that Trump did it at.
Yeah.
Because he feels unique in some way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In the celebrity or in all of that parts? Okay,
I
cool.
will say I really like Mondami though.
You like Mayor of New York, Zoran?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
I have to
A respectful disagreement. A respectful. Somebody shook hands and disagree. If there's one issue you would want Trump to focus on that he hasn't, what would it be?
Foreign aid to Israel.
You want to see, I imagine, less.
A lot less. I feel like there's stuff going on over there. It's serious stuff. People are dying, and it just shouldn't be happening.
Is there any other issue?
We're paying for that as taxpayers.
Is there any other issue you would want him to focus on that he's not focusing on right now?
Main thing, Israel.
It's just Israel, really.
Yeah.
We don't want conflict.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of young people are on the same page with that. Like it's a big thing for the young voters.
It does seem as if like, if Epstein was maybe break one, then Iran war and specific relationship to Israel has been a major break in terms of this year. Have you seen people talk about him differently or like feel him differently about him since that stuff has popped up?
Yeah, everyone.
Just keep America first, like keep our priorities in America. That's all it is.
I care about my family. I care about my country. I want people to be safe and happy where they live. And I care about my wallet too, man.
Yeah. Country, family, wallet, in some order. In some order.
That was a good interview.
Tell me your name.
You can call me Eddie.
Eddie? Jose.
Yeah.
So would you say you came for Trump or you came for UFC?
I came for the UFC.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are hating about he's doing it at the White House and stuff like that, but I think it's just a one of a lifetime opportunity to happen, so that's why we came here.
Yeah, what about you?
I feel like it's the environment. I feel like this is like a once-in opportunity we can come and, come to a historic place and we get to see something that we really like UFC.
Do you like Trump?
To be honest, nah, but I mean, he is the president of the United States, so at the end of the day, you still gotta accept that he's a president and respect him.
What about you?
I do not
That's
agree
how I
with
feel
any of the things that he has, done or said or what he's, going for, but
I
think it's
hate
pretty
Trump,
cool
but
that
I
he
don't
likes the
see the
fight, that he
value in
likes UFC,
saying
and all
it.
You like that?
Beyond just
Yeah, I think that's,
declaring it.
if anybody that likes UFC, I think,
The mayor of New York, he was at the Brazil game.
Yeah. Zoran was at the World Cup event. You're saying it's kind of like the same, Trump coming to this versus him going to the World Cup.
I'm assuming that there's people that also don't like the New York mayor, but pretty cool that he likes the FIFA game. So.
Because one thing is like, Democrats don't really do UFC. They don't do anything like that,
Yeah.
If Kamala Harris was president, I doubt that there would be a UFC event on the White House, right? Right? I'm saying, like, do you think that's a missed opportunity for them to speak to people like y'all?
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, like that's why I'm saying like those people like if anything, like let's say Kamala doesn't like that, but if she has people on her team that like that, they can always promote that and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, last question. If you have one issue you would want politicians to focus on, what would it be?
Gas prices.
Gas prices.
Gas prices. It's bad.
I would say
it was terrible.
Yeah.
I would say gas prices.
Who do you blame for that?
I mean, I just think he's been president.
I'm like.
You can't. It is the president, but it's also the things that he's doing with the war and stuff like that. I think we should focus more on the U.S. than the other countries.
They won't do that though. That doesn't fit their war.
Would you say you're here for Trump or UFC?
Warmonger death
I'd say a little bit of both.
Does the political angle, did it make you more excited or less excited to come?
It made me more excited. Many people don't like Trump, but it's his birthday. He's the president. It's the greatest country on earth. So we're here to celebrate that and watching grown men fight.
Did y'all vote for Trump?
I'm 18, so I just turned 18, so I did not have the pleasure of being able to vote. Back in the last election, but
would you have?
I'd have to think about that. In my opinion, especially with people my age, I think we all think that the two sides were too extreme. And if someone was in the middle, I definitely would have voted for them. But honestly, I might not have voted.
What do you think? Did you vote?
I voted for Kanye.
Why is that?
Same reason. I think they're both extreme. They take it to the next level.
Do we think Trump is? Do you like him more or less than his first term?
I mean, obviously, I like the UFC, so it's I like that a lot. He's doing that political wise. I mean, I'd say less. I'd say a little less, but I do like the things he's doing, like this, obviously. That does change my opinion. It does work to change people's opinion.
You're saying this reached you, but you like him a little less this time than last time.
I'd say a little bit, yeah.
One thing that really came up in the last election was about young men and Trump. Like, there was a whole thing about, like, folks like y'all's age, like, being really interested in Trump. And in some ways, it feels as if young men and Trump was a specific relationship in the last
cycle.
On that.
I agree that more men think, like, I think, I guess more masculine, they think to vote or Republican than Democrat.
Why do we think that is?
I feel like more Democrat they view towards the LGBTQ community, and most like masculine men don't want to be a part of that, so they go to the other side. Even like they don't look at the politics. Like politics aside, they don't want to like be associated with gay people. So I feel that could be a reason. And small reason. Yeah.
So 3 big takeaways after talking to young men outside of Donald Trump's UFC event. The first is that a lot of these boys are here for the sport, not necessarily the president. They recognize the political aspect, but they're largely here because they're fans of fighting. The second thing, though, is that those things are kind of related things. As Donald Trump has gone from the fringe to the mainstream, so has UFC itself, and a lot of the fans of the sport really appreciate him backing them over a long period of time. But the third thing is the most important, particularly about politics, because I keep hearing from boys that they feel a little differently about Donald Trump in his second term than the first term. They feel like he hasn't necessarily focused on the right priorities, and even the things that made him a model man or semi-cool have fallen off the second time he's been in office. So I'm gonna dig further into that by someone who lives in the alt-right manosphere. I'm gonna talk to Jack Posobiec, the far-right activist and podcaster who will be at this event and who I talked to.
I want to hear from a far-right activist. Why do you platform these Nazis? Who the fuck did I marry was so good.
You guys know that the characters from Marry My Husband have been living...
So Stephanie Sue has her own thing, does she? try stupid Rocket Cat again.
We were on TikTok the other day, and we keep getting these TikTok videos of shirtless Ned. You're wondering, who's Ned? Why is he shirtless? Ned Fulmer, as in the former Try Guy, casted out for his cheating scandal. That Ned Fulmer. He's shirtless, and he's in this ring full of sweaty men, and he's touching these other sweaty men. He's wrestling. I don't know why he's wrestling, and my husband was like, who is he again?
Oh, I don't have enough 1370. Damn it, I've been grinding a lot, though. I want to get gold and...
I'm like, it's Ned Fulmer. And then pulling up my phone, I go to YouTube, I show him the video with Ned Fulmer.
Shit, did I queue competitive? I don't know. I think I queued, like... This is quick play, right? Yeah, this is quick play.
And his wife Ariel, the podcast that went viral 3 months ago. And then he goes, wait, so this is his wife? I'm like, ex-wife. He's like, wait, so he cheated, but they're doing a podcast? I'm like, how do you not know anything that's going on? So this entire episode is dedicated to my husband. What do you know about the situation?
He cheated. And they broke up, right?
So that's what today's episode is going to be about. And I do want to say that our YouTube feeds are just so drastically different because I don't know how he doesn't know the entire lore of what happened in 2022. The Harry Styles concert, the pictures, the old BuzzFeed videos, the deleted videos. Anyway, because every time we're on YouTube, like we'll be showering and he will be on his YouTube. He'll be looking at other videos. I'll be looking at other videos. They don't have a single overlap except yesterday. I will say we did watch a very interesting video together.
Okay.
I mean, I know something's happening.
Do you remember that you pitched yourself to Pantene?
Okay, to be fair, I didn't pitch myself. I told them
Can you press play?
Okay.
Wait, can I see?
Before I even start it, can you just please look at this? Do you know how many times I felt this feeling? Or like when you go into the drain and then you pick up the wad of hair? Listen, panic. I'm playing from the start. Presented by TNT Pictures. This feels...
I feel like everywhere you look, it's there. Like, you can't escape it. Is everything alright? I think I'm losing it. At first you brush it off, thinking that it'll pass.
He's done really bad.
Day after day.
Okay, going on. But like, do you know, sometimes my hairbrush, I get so embarrassed by it, that I used to have to hide it away because of the amount of hair that would be stuck in there.
Until it's all you see. You'll have to do something. Where is it
Coming to a shower near you, a story of unbelievable strength. Her hairbrush is... Ooh. The shedding. The shedding.
This is kind of...
Okay, there's more.
Okay, check the drawer. Check the drawer. Is it that side? Okay, ready?
What is it?
Everyone sent me evidence photos. All I ever get are like exhibits. Oh, I know this. I know that feeling. This feeling is the worst feeling because not only do you not understand why you have so much hair that's coming out of the shower, but also now your drains are clogged. That looks exactly like what my hair used to be like. And the pillow one? Are these evidence photos? Today's video is brought to you by Pantene. People always wanted to do that. Have you seen their commercials? Oh my god, the way Pantene makes their commercials is the coolest thing I saw behind the scenes. And you have a green man in a green suit that does this for you. Because you want to see all the locks, but it's not as cool when I do it with my own hands. However, if you were in a green suit, like a green screen, oh.
I mean, it looks really good.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Your hair looks really good too. I wish I could show you. He uses my shampoo. Okay, we started using Pantene, and he uses my shampoo, and then he I think he got into it because he started brushing his hair. I've never seen this man. I've never seen him brush his hair in his life. But I will say today's video is brought to you by Pantene. Looking at those evidence photos that we just saw yesterday, it makes total sense why Pantene created the abundant and strong system. When you use the whole system together, you actually see less hair falling out. When I see like hair falling out, I start getting in my head and I start feeling like stressed about it, and then I start thinking about it throughout the day, and then like you always want to clear out the hair in the drain, or like when you're brushing it you want to like clean up the hair on the bathroom floor, and so you notice like if it's a big amount of hair or if it's a smaller amount, and then you start over analyzing. I will say that my hair started looking and feeling a lot fuller. You give it 6 weeks and your hair becomes stronger and denser. It's not this magical transformation overnight, but it just feels like a very noticeable, real shift that you can feel every time that you're brushing your hair, every time you're cleaning out the shower drain of all the like loose hair pieces. After going through this evidence, I feel like we still don't have the full story, and luckily Pantene created one. There is a full horror-inspired trailer called The Shedding that supposedly ties all of this together. So in the next video, we're going to watch the trailer and finally see what this evidence is leading up to. So to learn more about Pantene's new Abundant and Strong, I feel like I need a green screen, man. To learn more about Pantene's new Abundant and Strong collection, search for Pantene Abundant and Strong. Thank you, Pantene, for partnering on this video and for creating a system that helps people feel supported on their hair journey. And don't forget to follow along with hashtag Abundant and Strong. We're just getting started. Where do you go if you want to commit some nasty, disgusting, filthy moral crimes in a Poochie outfit? Nasty in a Poochie outfit. You're committing some crimes. Where do you go? Give me like the top 3 places that you would go. It's not illegal. It's just morally, ethically not allowed. Where do you go to commit these types of crimes? Where do you go? Okay, here's where I would go. I would go to an alleyway in New York City, like one of those like small side streets, and I would be with a group of people, because you don't commit moral crimes alone. Like that's too much for your moral compass. You gotta have a group so that you can split out the accountability. You go with the group, you're standing there in the alleyway and you're comparing the fucking condiment bowl that you just stole from the diner that you really shouldn't have stolen, but maybe you're a little drunk and you don't get drunk often, and so you stole it. And you know what? You looked into it, and this restaurant is not owned by a mom and pop shop. Okay, this is like a corporate, it's a cheesecake factory. I stole the basket of bread from the cheesecake factory. Fucking sue me. That's probably illegal actually, okay? But I stole it. They said it's free bread. I took the basket. Are you mad? Probably, but now I'm in this alleyway, nasty, in a Poochie outfit, and I'm asking every single person, did you guys happen to bring a dog? You're like, what dog? I'm like, oh, never mind. It's just a rat gnawing on my pants then. I really thought this through. I thought through everything, and then we go, ah! And we run, and I drop my bread basket that I just stole, and when I get back home, I don't have the bread basket that I committed moral crimes with. Because that's what I get. That's karma.
Okay.
So if you want to commit nasty, unethical crimes, you go to Cheesecake Factory, and then you go to a little side street in New York City. You don't go, however, you do not go to a Harry Styles concert. Harry Styles concerts are strictly for a few things. You go to a Harry Styles concert for good music. You go to a Harry Styles concert if your name is your name and you're trying to get kidnapped. That's it. Those are the only 2 reasons. There's no other reason to go to a Harry Styles concert, and it's definitely the last place you want to go if you're cheating on your wife and kids and you decide, why don't I just go out with my mistress for a fun little date at a Harry Styles concert?
Wait, what was the one that went viral?
This is Ned Fulmer. This is Ned.
I know Ned
Coldplay.
That's a Coldplay concert.
You don't go to a Coldplay concert either. You just don't go to a concert.
Is that the only 2?
Yeah, Coldplay, Harry Styles.
Dang, it's the concerts.
It's the I don't know why people would think it's safe either.
Yeah.
I don't get it. You're in like a
It's like
stadium.
You're surrounded by thousands of people.
And thousands of people with their phones up, like recording the whole experience
Yes.
too. So I really don't understand. No, that's weird. That's
so,
crazy.
So ballsy.
Where would you go if you were cheating?
In the 21st century,
Yeah.
with the amount of cameras that's out there and the cell phones
Yeah.
out there, how could anybody cheat? Everything
what
is
I'm saying.
everything. You have a digital footprint. There's receipts on everything you do. Every message, every phone call, every
Even every look.
every what? Every look.
Like imagine you're like looking at a neighbor while you're opening up the front door
my
and you're
God.
checking out her butt. I'll be watching on the camera. I'll be watching on the camera. We have a little snack bar outside for the delivery drivers, and we be watching. Because every single time my family members come over, why are they walking away with groceries? Why are they walking away with enough snacks for the entire week?
It's Mia.
No! Oh my god, I wish I could show you this video. So we told my nieces, hey, this little snack thing outside, this is strictly for delivery drivers. I got 2 nieces, okay? And the oldest one, Sophie, she's like a rule follower. She's kind of like me, where she's like, okay, if an adult told me not to do it, I'm probably not gonna do it, which means she's gonna get rebellious later. But right now, she follows the rules. So they come in one day from the front door, and we see Sophie run past the snack bar.
Also, just so everyone knows, Sophie is like almost 5.
Mia is 4.
Almost 4.
Yeah, and then Mia comes running in, and we had to replay this footage because her left hand, without even looking at the snack bar, chucks a bag of snacks, and then she runs into the house. She doesn't look at the snack bar. She doesn't pick and choose. It was like pure convenience. And she run. It was so smooth. And then when she got in, everyone was like, where are we getting all these chips? And I was like, that's a good question. Check the camera. Anyway, everything is caught on film is what we're trying to say. You can't get away with anything in this day and age. Now, Ned Fulmer from the Try Guys is spotted with one of the producers of the Try Guys, the production manager for the Try Guys company, at a Harry Styles concert in New York City. Is that the craziest thing in the world? Maybe not. Perhaps not, okay? A fan runs into Ned and Alex at a Harry Styles concert, asks Ned for a photo because she watches the Try Guys. She's a fan of Ned Fulmer. Well, I don't know if she's a fan of Ned Fulmer, but she's a fan of the Try Guys. She takes this photo and then I guess she just feels weird about it. Because the whole thing about he's out at a Harry Styles concert with a producer. We don't see his wife anywhere. And then she said, okay, well, maybe it was like a work thing. So she's browsing online, watching all of their socials, and she doesn't see like this big group picture with all the Try Guys team at the Harry Styles concert, because I think that would explain away everything. If I'm not, I mean, this is me guessing and speculating, but perhaps it's the fact that the producer was annoyed when she approached Ned. Because that's very weird. Like, I guess I would imagine if I went out with someone from the Rotten Mango team and then we're like out on the streets of New York and we run into a viewer and they want to take a picture with me and the person who works with us is acting annoyed or seems annoyed. I feel like that would be very odd behavior. It's like, okay, well, this is the reason we have jobs. So, like, why are you annoyed? It doesn't make any sense. Like, this is just odd. It's weird. Yeah. And then so she's browsing online and she does see that other producers from the Try Guys team did go to a Harry Styles concert in New York City. But, like, you know how a lot of concerts, like, they have the Friday night show, Saturday night show, sometimes the Sunday show. They don't see a whole group photo with Ned and Alex with the other producers. So they just thought it was weird. They posted. A lot of people think, okay, well, maybe this is like our constitutional right as an American to just overthink shit, to make shit up online and forget about libel and defamation. And we just be having speculations. We be having allegedly, in my opinion, Your Honor. I said allegedly, Your Honor. Like, we're just having those moments online. But then people start digging up stuff from the Try Guys subreddit, because I would say the initial reaction everybody's having is, no, you don't get it. Ned's the wife guy. They call him the wife guy because the other Try Guys have personalities. Ned, there are literal compilations of him going, my wife, 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 my wife. His whole shtick is that he has a wife and he has 2 children.
We watched this one. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to steer us down a blind lane there. Oh, here, let's watch that one.
Of all the innovations brought about from the modern age, few inspire equal parts disgust and desire, quite like the e-girl. And no one did more to shape the e-girl blueprint than Belle Delphine. Selling bathwater, getting banned off every social media platform conceivable, and making herself the center of attention on the internet before she suddenly vanished without a trace. At least, that's the story to most casual observers. Because while other videos talking about Belle Delphine on this site usually stop at OnlyFans woman who fell off, there's a lot of very interesting details and events that I've never seen discussed before. And after looking at everything I'm going to discuss in this video, my perception of Belle has, shall we say, changed. So sit back as I give you the complete story of Belle Delphine. Also, I'm trying to keep this thing monetized, so throughout the video you might be looking at a lot of blurry screens, so just use your imagination, okay? And if you like this video and the others on the channel, please do subscribe. It helps me more than you could ever know. But that's enough from me, so let's jump in. Belle Delphine was born 1999 in Cape Town, South Africa, to an English mother and South African father. She was born Mary Belle Kirshner, but for simplicity, I'll just refer to her as Belle throughout the video. Her mum was a former model who had done some racy shoots, while her dad worked on television commercials. Go figure, the pair had met on the job and by accident created Belle a few months later. The couple then tried to force a marriage, but obviously it was never going to work and the pair divorced when Belle was 9 years old. According to Belle, her dad always seemed to resent her, and so following the divorce he had little objection to Belle leaving with her mum to go live in the UK. And so Belle grew up without a father figure. Imagine my shock. Her and her mother settled in Lymington, a quaint little town in the south of England. They have an actual neighborhood called Buckland. What is this, fucking Buckland from Lord of the Rings online? She describes her own upbringing as conservative. Her mum, the one raising her, was described as being a rebel when compared to the religious sects of her family. So while she says she was raised conservatively, I think she means she had conservative influences around her growing up. But at home, she was for the most part allowed to do whatever she wanted. My theory is supported by the way she describes her introduction to the internet, with her being allowed to view whatever she wanted for as long as she wanted. And as a result, her interests were formed by quote unquote the messed up part of the internet.
When you say the internet, what were your grazing grounds?
YouTube, Facebook, but I'd spend about 12 to 15 hours a day on the internet every single day.
Well, I've always been like an avid internet type user. I've always been like really drawn to it. So I was always like, up late when I was meant to like wake up early for school, just browsing the internet. And then I just end up like sleeping at school. I've always been completely just obsessed.
Her mum's lack of interest would extend to Belle's real world activities, with her being allowed to stay out as long as she wanted for as late as she wanted.
You know, when you have to check with your parents to see if it's like okay to like sleep around someone's house or whatever, and all my friends would do that and my mum just wouldn't. Or like I'd stay around a friend's house and then I wouldn't even tell my mum, and then I'd come back the next day and she wouldn't even ask where I was.
Even travelling away from her hometown overnight with her mum not caring where she was. She recounts an event where she went to meet a man in his mid-20s in London when she was 14.
I was 14. This was when the whole controversy happened or whatever. And I just went. I found someone on the internet, this guy that I really liked. He was 25 at the time. And I just went on a train, went to see him and stayed with him for like a day.
She plays the story off as a hee I could have been murdered. But I think this would constitute serious neglect on behalf of her mother.
And perhaps child rape.
Belle attended school in her local town where she described herself as being the quirky, strange girl. Belle gives a variety of reasons for why her time at school was miserable. The first point she brings up is that her South African accent was mocked by the other girls, leaving her ostracized and alone. I'm skeptical of this to the point I almost feel confident calling it an outright lie. Obviously, this is from the memories of a young child, so things may seem different than they were. But here in the UK, South African accents are not remotely uncommon. Look, fuck, it's just at that age I don't even think children understand the concept of accents. It could be South African, it could be Welsh. Personally, I would chalk this up to influencer, oh gee golly, my life was hard, am I relatable? After her accent-related bullying, she claims she forced a strong British accent until she spoke like she does today. Now, as for the more likely reasons she struggled to fit in school, because of her lack of internet supervision and no enforced bedtime at home, Belle spent all night online, and so was exhausted during the school day, falling asleep in class and struggling to understand basic work assignments. Belle also claims her attendance was abysmal, with it being a notable day for her class whenever she would actually show up.
My attendance was like one of the worst in my class or year or whatever, and whenever I did come into school, people would be like make jokes about it, like, oh, she's finally in, or something like that, and I'd be like,
I have to guess this was likely down to her mother not showing any care when it came came to Belle going in. Saying she felt too sick or tired to go to school would be enough to make Mrs. Kirtner shrug and allow Belle to rot in her room online for the rest of the week. Despite apparently having zero real presence at school, Belle claims she...
Every time one of those like Eminem or Billie Eilish songs go off in the background for Fortnite, I get this message on YouTube saying that Russia can't hear that music for whatever reason. Russia and Belarus can't hear that artist for whatever reason. Well, that's weird. I didn't know it did that.
She felt so lonely and isolated that the best course of action was to switch schools, with her mum allowing her to make the change because why not, who gives a shit. Belle started at the new school and initially was on good terms with other students, and on course to finally fit in. This would all change overnight, however, when Belle decided to make an edgy joke regarding cancer on her Facebook. The joke was found by a fellow student at school, and Belle was once again ostracised for making what her peers saw as a flippant and offensive joke. Now once again, this story raises some red flags in the critical part of my brain. Teenagers can be vindictive. Yeah, if it was just a singular joke, I can't imagine it would end all the chances of fitting into school. That time would have been the peak of edgy comedy, and I refuse to believe every student in the school, aside from Belle, was a triggered SJW snowflake. There was 100% but it's unlikely we'll have what. Unless, of course, you are one of her old Leamington alumni, in which case I would love to know if you have any additional details about her at this time. Regardless of what happened, Belle says she began receiving hundreds of hateful messages online from classmates who were just really angry about this one joke. See what I mean? It sounds bizarre. It apparently got so bad that Belle reached a breaking point and printed out all the mean comments that had been sent her. She printed them and showed them to her mum, who presumably was too late to take the kid out of school. Wow, making edgy online jokes and then running to the mods when people say mean things back to you. She really was a 4chan. Once again, while abusive probably isn't the right word to describe her mum and something I cannot legally say, taking your child out of education at 14 is highly illegal and also pretty much destroying their future opportunities for employment, as even the most entry-level jobs like apprenticeship will still require a math and English GCSE. On top of this, Belle didn't exactly seem like an academic weapon before she dropped out, so realistically I would guess she had the academic ability of someone well below her age. I'm not saying she's stupid, I'm just saying she was never in school to begin with. Being too young to work, Belle returned to her usual activities of spending all her time online, becoming something of an elite, as her primary tool for
I guess when I started having loads of free time on my hands, like when I left school, I just really delved into it, and then I was spending probably like 12 hours a day on the internet every single day because I didn't really do anything else.
Despite her physical isolation from the world, she was able to form some real human friendships online, and would go so far as to attend IRL meetups with her online friends. These friends introduced her to the world of emo and goth clothing, and thus herself would quickly take an interest in the world of fashion. Specific aesthetic or trend. While today clothing like this is fairly popular, back then this still would have firmly fallen into the realm of uncool weavery. So Belle was certainly forging her own path in terms of fashion inspiration. Belle was now 15 with some confidence in her appearance, and a decent pool of IRL friends whom she had met online. While a lot of these people were around her age, some were much older, well into their 20s and even 30s. Belle claims during this time she dated some of these much older men, even kissing a man in his 30s while attending a concert with him.
My first boyfriend, he was the same age as me. I met him when I was like 13 or 14, I can't remember. And I went to a festival with one of my friends, and I cheated on him with a much older guy. He was 30 years old, I think, and I just kissed him or whatever.
I'll remind you, Belle doesn't have a dad. Okay, this isn't actually very funny. It's extremely depressing, and while Belle says she never did anything sexual with these older men, dating at such a young age with such fucked power dynamics likely isn't great for a developing child when it comes to forming healthy dating habits.
This was a really prominent thing of much older men in the emo and scene community. I'm not sure if it was just in the UK or in America as well, but I can only speak for the UK. But in the UK, it was a really big thing for 14-year-olds. So like all my friends in like this type of community, yeah, it really was.
Wow.
I have known so many people whose first boyfriend was like a 24-year-old when they were like 14.
What?
Pedophile country. Okay, most of the time you're not. Personally, I don't get the appeal of dating teenagers. Give me a self-sufficient, confident woman. Maybe she's in a position of authority over me. Maybe she calls me up to her office. Sorry, fuck, where was I?
Also,
Within
what
the
about
friend
the
group,
child
Belle met a guy
molestation
and the two would
charges?
start dating,
Is
and Belle
something
would
else.
soon have to move in with him at 15 years old. 15
What?
years old.
And there was like this emo group where everyone was like emo and scene, and I was like, this is awesome. And then I met a guy there, and he became my boyfriend, and then I moved in with him straight away.
So around that time, would you say you were around 17 then?
No, I was 15.
Oh, you moved in with someone when you were 15?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Massive legal disclaimer here, put it in. Given that this guy had his own place, it can be assumed that he was at least 18 years old, meaning any sexual activity the pair engaged in would have been illegal under British law. Now, Belle claims she has only ever with one man, who we'll get to shortly, but obviously there is other stuff that you can do that isn't sex. I just can't imagine the type of guy who would invite
No, there isn't. Not with a child. It's all the same
wouldn't
thing.
have any kind of ulterior motive. This situation is certified sex. Hey, leave a comment.
That's the
What do you
story,
think
huh?
the age of consent should be? In 2016, Belle would make her first dips into
16.
online content production. Firstly with YouTube makeup tutorials, where she showed off her Japanese-inspired makeup routines and did a very
Or is it
grating
17?
high-pitched
Whatever it
voice.
is.
I'm Belle, and today I'm going to be doing my everyday eye makeup for you. I've had a few people ask me how I do my makeup, so I thought I'd just make a quick and easy video of how I do it.
I know some people say she was younger, it's just a higher voice. I'm sorry, if you know what to listen for, you can hear strain, and where the voice is hitting the back of the throat. It's put on likely for anime voice reasons, I don't fucking know. Belle would also begin to upload cosplay content onto Instagram and Facebook, quickly gaining a modest following for her outfits and becoming fairly well known within the UK cosplay scene. Belle would even experience her first controversy when she got called for a mythical wig for a character, earning the ire of 24 women in their mid-20s, enraged that this 17-year-old had the gall to misrepresent their favourite character. But it wouldn't be long before Belle found herself in real trouble. Belle would pretend she was over 18, lying about her age on all her social medias, and begin passing off other girls' sensitive pictures as her own, and then selling these pictures to over-eager fans for a profit. The agreement was to split all money 50-50, and Belle was all too eager to start earning some money, since her cosplay content was then unmonetized. The photos used were of Belle being an incredible privacy. Confronted, Belle claimed she was also being used by the mysterious figure, and that she was 17, dumb, being intimidated, and in desperate need for money. Should be noted about this desperate need for money. In leaked messages with the guy, Belle claimed various apologies to the women affected by this can generally be summarized as, oh my god, I'm just a girl. Me just really needed money. Ooh. Belle no understand law. Since this all happened before Belle became proper, it's largely been forgotten. But it does show early on Belle had her eye on not safe for work content, and that she was seemingly in dire need of money before she turned 18. At this time, Belle was dating a 20-year-old. Not the person that she moved in with at 15, but I assume not, since she mentioned living with her mum and examples of an unapologetic, pure-blood weeb I've ever seen in a post-Filthy Frank video world. This guy was tweeting about wanting to be Asian and changed his surname on Facebook to a badass Japanese word that wouldn't really make any sense. So, y'all better be referred to me as non-Korasanai or I'm quitting. These two dorky Japanophiles may have seemed like a match made in Tengoku, but their love would be cut brutally short. 2017. In 2017, Belle claims to have started dating her current boyfriend and person of interest. Available on legal documents, so I don't feel too bad using his name. And in making this video, I've had to look at his comment multiple times. But for the sake of being nice, I will call him... The timeline for when she met Tim and ended the relationship with her old partner was a bit ski-whiff, so I assume there was some overlap, and that meeting Tim prompted her to end things with her current boyfriend. She made no secret that she was the one to end the relationship.
When I was dating my ex-boyfriend, I broke up with him. It was mutual or whatever. Maybe it wasn't that mutual, but it was still a breakup's difficult. It's very difficult.
And archive posts indicate the ex didn't take the breakup too well. Tim was born December 1993, meaning when he and Belle met, she would have been turning 18 and he would have been 24. I'm going to tread very carefully. Power dynamics is a term that's gotten me into trouble before. And yes, Belle is an autonomous adult at this time in her life. However, she was 18 with no qualifications and certified. On Belle's affinity for older guys, she actually opened up on a podcast father figure, taking care of her and managing things that are too complicated for her little brain to understand.
Like, my father issues have stemmed through a lot of aspects of my life. For example, when I look for a partner,
I'm out of fucking ammo. I've got good guns, but I don't have ammo. I tried to rift! I tried to rift, it wouldn't let me do it! I tried to rift, it was like, I'm bumbling, I'm trying. Nope. Yeah. I want more fruit. I'll be right back. It'd be good when the auto coder is gone. I like overeating fruit. It's alright. Some fruit wise, the smoke bomb. The hell is that? I don't like that. Oh god, I don't want to fall, I don't want to fall. Oh. What was that? Where was he? Motherfucker. What the fuck was that? Whoa. Dick, show your face. There you are. Fucking shuck him, monkey. I like that more. Yeah, I think I'll probably do. Oh, I don't know. I'll probably do that and that. Back on this thing again. Fuck were you? Where'd you go, fucker? Thank you. Where'd you go, fucker? Oh, what the fuck was that? This car is like special. Something about this car, man. I don't know what it is. I don't know. That might be better than what I have. Yeah, probably that. Yeah. I'm out of fuel. Oops. Where's his AK? I don't see it. Six down, 5 up. Wish me luck. Top 5, bitch. See if we can do it. See if we can get my crown back. I don't know. Yeah, that's good. I can't believe he domed me. It was a good shot. Jesus Christ. Fuck was that? Oh my god. God damn, man. That was a good shot. What the fuck? I got domed. I haven't been domed like that in a long time.
Someone who's older and will be a father figure to me in a way.
And so in your relationships, it's someone, not a provider, because you're really a provider.
Yeah.
But someone who feels like they can look after you in some sense.
Who's like a daddy, yeah.
What does that mean?
Like someone who will look after you, who feels safe around, who takes control of the situations, you can fall back on, who is there to help and provide for you, not monetarily, but in all other aspects where I feel like I'm unable to fill those roles for myself and look after myself in certain ways I struggle with.
Certified sus. I'm younger than 24 and the idea of dating an 18-year-old is just strange. Like I can only just now start drinking a Weatherspoon. I'm developing arthritis in my hands. Oh shit, it's been something about the waitress. I got fucked up. But Belle, around this time, was working as a waitress. Belle actually claims that throughout her teenage years, she did loads of odd jobs here and there. The most well-known was a brief stint as a babysitter, but also working as a dishwasher for 6 months. The timeline of these jobs doesn't really add up with later accounts of her life, so we can't be 100% sure what exact work Belle was doing during her teenage years. Regardless, her life was about to change. After she turned 18, Belle decided to expand her cosplay content into more lewd stuff. Her boyfriend was immediately on board and began facilitating her online career, acting as her principal photographer and likely financially supporting her endeavors until her
boyfriend, who's been with you the whole time you've been in the public eye. He likes to remain in the background.
But he's on all my journeys. It's quite fun. And it's great to have, I need a person to do all this. It's complicated, so I need a...
Early on, Belle was blending in with the cavalcade of other women doing similar stuff. She soon stumbled on a gold mine that would quickly become a face, expression sticks their tongue out and rolls up their eyes to simulate a state of physical ecstasy, such as sneezing their throat build-up or being pumped full of plastic. The expression originates from Japanese adult manga, and observing this content was the character it gave to Belle's otherwise unremarkable shoots. Belle's surrounding response would begin to see steady growth, growing from an average kawaii fashion page to one of the largest cosplayers. With a fanbase now beginning her signature and Belle had to find a way to reach new potential followers. She spent many a sleepless night thinking how to attack the market. Wait, with her years online, she knew a girl in a swimsuit just doesn't cut it anymore. She needed people to be viral, to be skippable, to be... Belle began as well as referencing whatever meme was trending at the time. Like when she said she had stayed up for hours creating fake YouTube accounts to subscribe to PewDiePie. You see, she's just like one of the boys. This content was targeted at the die-hard online crowd, who would share around her images for their strange nature and would stick around for the pretty girl cooking with the octopus. In recent years, with the gift of hindsight, some people have questioned how genius these marketing efforts were. At the end of the day, it was video media that was safe enough to be posted on social media without being taken down. If you had to think of the easiest thing on earth to sell to internet users, it would be video. People have also noted the proximity of her boyfriend throughout the show. Belle is the sole marketing genius of the production. Indeed, many have asked how big a role her boyfriend had in selecting costumes and what videos he made, as he was present for every single shoot she ever undertook. And of course, his added years of experience compared to Belle would make him well suited to approaching their work like a business. Not long after her pivot into adult-oriented content, Belle decided to tell her mum. She described it to her mum as erotic photography. Obviously, Belle's mother was familiar with modeling, and despite her initial skepticism, it seems she eventually was okay with it. But most reports indicate she was never fully comfortable with what her daughter was doing. And as such, the two are fairly distant today. Belle says that their relationship is improving, which, I mean, you can read into that however you like.
And how's your relationship with your mum?
It's getting better. It's gotten a lot better.
With her online fame on the rise, Belle started a Patreon with some fucking insane prices. There was pay for uncensored photos that pay a bit more to get behind the scenes. But then stuff got wild. The highest tier being $2,500 per month, which rewarded face time with Belle herself, with one of the sweatiest men to grace the planet joining and then immediately going non-verbal. Laughs at anything they say. She obviously has an incentive to make people feel like they're in a relationship with her. But Belle has outright stated that a lot of her donors have severe autism.
They're really between the ages of 20 and age. They're super normal guys. I mean, there are some that maybe game a lot. Maybe some of them have worse social skills. Maybe somewhere on the spectrum. Obviously, it varies.
And while I don't think Belle is technically wrong for taking money, I do think there's a debate somewhere about how one creates parasocial relationships, with individuals who may struggle to differentiate a transactional relationship with a genuine connection. The worst case of this practice is when a high-tier donor who had a disability began to believe he and Belle were romantically involved, and began sending her extravagant gifts and tens of love letters. Eventually, this escalated to him sending her items like his birth certificate and credit card, at which point Belle
in the UK, who I didn't take it to court or do anything like that because he had mental health issues. I didn't think that the court process would help anything like that. So it was just a constant barrage of taking his very erratic, strange messages and emails and letters and posts and all of these things, claiming that he knew who I was and that we had this whole relationship, and send me sad gifts, Care Bears, and things that made me feel really upset because obviously this guy has mental issues. He actually also sent me his birth certificate, his passport, and all of his credit cards, which is when I first contacted the police, because I was like, this guy is not mentally stable, and now he sent me all of his credit cards.
But I'd be curious to know if there had any reservations back when he was just sending gifts and putting thousands in her bank each month. You know, Belle sees no issue taking money from the mentally handicapped. Only when they start sending documents that could potentially get Belle into legal trouble is the line drawn. But all the way up until that point, she was again, it's not really Belle's prerogative to care who gives her money to see naughty photos, but there's nuance, like, you know what I mean. I only included this section because across multiple interviews Belle gives, she keeps mentioning fans who had severe autism and she felt a bit bad.
Before I started anything like OnlyFans or Patreon, I used to meet up with this guy. We would go on like a date somewhere, and he would speak about pretty computer science and all things. So I just sent this link to him and go on and on about computer science and in my head, barely speaking. It wasn't really about me, and he paid me, I think, £2,000, which must be like $2,500 or something along those lines.
The highest Patreon donors were naturally given the privilege of deciding what content they wanted to see, and Belle would end up doing a fair share of niche fetish work for her most dedicated patrons.
I had someone who, their kink is to inflate me. So they want me to like go like really fat. There was another guy whose kink was he paid so much to see me just act dead as if I were like a Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter character.
With a Patreon, she was now raking in a considerable amount of money, all while she was still 18 years of age. She used this money to buy a new house with her boyfriend, and they would both rapidly upgrade the production value of Belle's shoots. While Belle was 18, she and her boyfriend would do some crazy romantic experimentation. She recounts one event where they went to an orgy hosted in a hotel, where they had weird, crazy public sex. With the money Belle was bringing in October of 2018, her and her boyfriend created Belle Delphine Limited. It's a genuine registered business.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Ah! Oh! What? Oh boy! What are we doing here?
After the name change was finally released, you can only imagine what crazy business politics were going on behind the scenes.
Sorry, my butt plug is cleaners!
At some point, her dad came to the UK,
Oh.
visiting her in her nice home, and naturally. Analyzed the system. Whatever answer Belle gave just raised more questions than answers. Since that night, her dad did some digging and came across her Belle Delphine alter ego. He couldn't believe she wore the wrong thing. As a result, he went pretty crazy, berating Belle over a string of angry text messages before storming back to Cape Town. My daughter does porn, I cannot abide by that. 2019 rolls around, and this is when Belle Delphine began to enter the meme public domain.
Meme school.
Before, the only people paying Belle any attention were just unironic gooners, but now edgy meme ironic unironic gooners were sharing her around. As meme reactions and hee wow, a gamer girl, am I right boys? Let's blast the Soviet national anthem. As a result, YouTubers began engaging with Belle. They used to capitalize on the meme and put a weird questionable face in the thumbnail for their channel to click on. Pyrocynical, for example, milked several videos based around a single interaction he had with Belle. It's clear the relationship between Belle and YouTubers was symbiotic. Belle gets a huge wave of exposure from being featured on a 1 million+ sub channel, and the YouTubers get some prime edgy content by pretending to be shocked or in love, and then they probably say the N-word because it's 2019.
I know all about this.
That June, Belle pulled the first of what became an infamous series of stunts, when she made a post to Instagram claiming that she received a post quickly shot past its goal, with Belle setting a grand release date only to pull the rug out from her fans by making a series of videos of her performing innocuous tests, all of which were titled with hilarious double comments. The next most infamous of her career would come the following month. As an e-girl, options for commercialization were limited. She could sell guys would wear those to their local game shop. Wanted to do something untried, so landed on the novel idea of washing herself out and selling the back water now infused with caresses, and in some lucky cuts, even saliva. Belle says she was inspired by apparently a couple of them actually existed in the 90s. Well, you learn something new every day. Good on you.
I don't know how I stayed alive, but I stayed alive. I don't know how I did it.
Much tainted soapy water as possible, and sold it on her own website for £25 each. Around 500 individual tubs were made, but the entire stock sold out within 72 hours, leading some news sites to claim Belle had made millions over the 3 years. To call major understatement. In many ways, the concept of gamer girl bathwater overtook Belle Delphine herself, with the idea becoming the single biggest meme of the week, or meme of the month more realistically, for the summer of 2020. The event was covered by multiple mainstream media outlets, and Belle was even invited to interview on ITV's This Morning. She obviously declined, but we were this close to a Belle Delphine Philip Schofield crossover. For those not in the UK, best. I'll add him to the earlier meme. Despite the viral success of the behind the scenes, £100,000 in a single week due to the wave of about how much she had made. But years later in 2024, she opened up on X.com about the disaster this whole venture had been behind the scenes. From a solely manufacturing perspective, the cost of the custom pots and shipping meant she wasn't actually making that big a margin per sale. An unfortunate situation, but not the end of the world, right? Well, all the payments from sales went directly to her PayPal, which one day without warning was closed, resulting in $90,000 effectively disappearing, as PayPal claimed she had violated TOS. At this point in time, Belle undoubtedly had a bank account of thousands, but even in that ballpark, $90K is not a forgettable amount of money. That's serious legal action money. She says she was never even told what rules she specifically violated. But I'm sorry, how in God's name do you let a company take that amount of money and end any attempt to get it back after calling them up? Although the story does have a happy ending, a few weeks after tweeting about the loss of the money in 2024, PayPal released her funds. A part of me has to believe this was due to PayPal already being on shaky legal ground to begin with. Like, why the fuck would they suddenly release the money years later, coincidentally after this whole fiasco became public? But at the time, the loss of the bathwater money would have been pretty stressful, and the situation was about
oh god damn.
The removal of her Instagram page.
Oh god damn. Fuck! God damn it, man! Where were you? Disappear completely. What the fuck?
From both these hits to her career, the bathwater and Instagram ban, Belle decided to take a break from her online career. Her first hiatus started in the summer, and many began to theorize over what had happened. Ideas included the bathwater being a biohazard and her escaping legal ramifications, her dying and currently decaying within a stone mausoleum. Every theory was obviously untrue, and mostly just ways for YouTubers to milk a little bit more content out of her. During her absence, she would still pop up occasionally, such as when she attended the 2019 Pornhub Awards. To receive an award... Okay, yeah, I'm not showing footage from this. During this soul-searching, Belle traveled to South Korea for a month.
And yon, Korean for hello.
After some soul-searching and battery recharging in Korea, in late 2019, at long last, Belle began to plan her return to the internet. And to do this, she decided another stunt would be the most effective route to take. And so that October, fans of Belle would be left shocked when reports emerged that she had been arrested, with a mugshot and Belle telling a crazy story about how she vandalized a girl's car. While this initially got people talking about Belle again, it didn't take long for people to figure out this story.
It's fucking hard to focus.
Contrary to popular belief, the British
I
police
got the
don't
top
use
6, that's fine.
filters on mugshots. Belle tried to keep the ruse going for as long as possible, but eventually had to admit it was just a stunt. She would then go quiet once again until early 2020, when a series of photos, purported to be taken by a stranger who happened to see Belle out in the wild, showed her with her foot in a cast and her arm in a sling, indicating she had been involved in a serious accident. She then confirmed in an interview she had sustained injuries while filming a scene where she jumped off the roof of her house into a paddock.
What a crazy story! The feed is so crazy!
Fuck you, chicken. Fuck you, Ryu. Fuck all these people. Fuck Big Head, dude. Fuck this lady. Fuck that lady. Alright, I'm in this one. I want to try and win. Big Head top 5. It's time to win now. 2:30 in the morning. It's time to win. That's where I'll land. Okay. No cars. No cars. Not bad. It's good load up and fast. I like Fortnite. It's so mindless. Gotta take that over that. Gotta get better with this gun. Are the rivers all shallow now? Or like none of the rivers are deep anymore? Man, they changed stuff. What's the point of a boat in this shallow ass water? No gunshots. 67 already.
Internet sleuths did some digging and realised that the supposedly candid photos of Belle were taken directly outside her friend's house. A friend who, it turned out, had been wearing the exact same boot earlier in the year. Sorry I can't show you guys the direct evidence for this. Rest assured it's a hideous invasion of privacy. And so this scheme also fell apart. Belle immediately stopped appearing with the boot and sling and erased any reference to it from her socials. These two events do highlight something for me. Firstly, that while people say Belle was the master of the online prank, she did have her fair share of stinkers that immediately fell flat. In June of 2020, 9 months since her last official appearance, Belle Delphine returned to the internet, announcing her comeback with a quite terrible song.
I love this song. You were thinking I died. Big surprise. Still got them double thick thighs. Purple over there. That guy killed me the other day, I think. Oh, headshot, bitch. What? I shot him so much faster than him. I shot him with a rifle point blank like 11 times. The fuck was that? And I lost. Okay, try again. Oh my god.
Belle isn't even the one singing. Her vocals are loaned out to anime meme YouTuber Senzawa, most known for her OK Boomer song, signature high-pitched and shallow. Granted, the song was released second to the music video, but it was just twerking to advertise her brand new digital service. Different website. OnlyFans is a brand new site for creators to offer exclusive images behind the paywall.
Master the perfect winged eyeliner, break sweat with an apple. Learn to cook your new favorite meal, all on OFTV.
And the site would quickly change the landscape of internet models, offering a dignified middle ground between safe, hard to monetize content and straight up porn. Worth noting, OnlyFans isn't just for naked pics. It could just be used to post by incorporating personalities into the content. So these days, these girls are everywhere. They're unavoidable to your brand problems as a because it's such a far-reaching industry, it's hard to think back to a time when things were any way different. While Belle was becoming the most recognizable face online, many otherwise safe work creators would see the earning potential in OnlyFans content and pivot their brands towards safer work content. I remember I followed quite a few cosplay accounts around this time. It was like a game of Russian roulette as one by one they made the obligatory post. Like, I've always loved making naughty costumes, usually followed by all their mainline content becoming solely focused on don't wait on my OnlyFans! To guide as many people as she could over to her paid content, Belle made a deliberate attempt to insert herself into the communities of other YouTubers. Who generally only existing families most, the first major move they made if anyone knows the whereabouts of it.
You're gonna do it again, alright?
That's so customized! Listen, I take back what I said off camera. He's not a stupid tool.
Belle describes the process of assembling each box as a welcome break from the stress of being online, with her actually able to create something again since she started her online work full time. Shortly after H3.
Oh, do you think it's bathwater?
No bathwater should look like that.
And over the course of the year, a variety of YouTubers would come forward to make content about their boxes, with Belle Delphine's name squarely in the thumbnail. Some YouTubers didn't even receive boxes, but just made their own anyway for clickbait.
Hey guys, this is so crazy. The queen of memes herself, Belle Delphine, sent me a box. Boxes, This is amazing. This is in Chinese. Is this medication? This is my wallet. My wallet. And then there's this is this a manga? This looks like a manga. There's some cool. I don't know what that's about. Remember, guys, go follow Belle Delphine. She's so.
Honestly, the box was very smart and genius guerrilla marketing. Something very important, but I was watching a recent Cold Ones video, and look there, you can see the box. That's fun. Later in the year, Belle would go from being the subject of videos to being a guest. She began a grand tour of all the biggest podcasts on the site. She started with an appearance on the H3H3 podcast, and Cold Ones within the same month. The H3 podcast is honestly almost unwatchable with how stilted Ethan's comedy is.
Fast forward, a year and you're doing a And we wondering who is this shadow.
It's cringe, not the intentional kind. Her appearance on Cold Ones was slightly one thing that did become apparent was that the main reason for appearing on the podcast was still just to get people over to the OnlyFans. She was still on duty, so to speak, attempting to lure like a big most of her stories and anecdotes are tailored, so to speak. In one instance, she fabricates a story where she fell in love with a top-tier donor over his reward FaceTime.
Yeah, have you ever fallen for a fan?
100%. I had this one guy, and he was the one who paid for my Skype tip quite a while ago when I had that. And we, obviously I Skyped him because he paid for it. He ended up being really, really good. We kind of keep Skyping, and then it kind of came to the point where it reversed roles. I was asking to Skype him and things like that.
This story obviously contradicting the fact she claims to be utterly in love with her boyfriend, and also the fact that, come on guys, I don't think anyone socially competent is paying $2,500 per month to talk to a girl they masturbate to. But to gullible viewers, this story serves as an invitation. She's open to love. Maybe if you got on that $2,500, this does make me wonder if experiences are to make her now, Belle does have a habit of mentioning weird romantic encounters she has with strangers. In this random post, she talks about going to the Isle of Wight and having a whirlwind romance with a guy she met on a bus. Because of posts like this, people have theorized that her and her boyfriend are in some type of open relationship. But again, this is made slightly more weird by the fact she insists she's only ever been intimate with her partner. Maybe their agreement is forming romantic connections with other people is okay, but nothing more. It weirdly sounds more depressing than just a standard.
It's her private life, it's not your business.
Honest, I think stories like this are fabricated just to make Belle seem sexually attainable to her viewers. Like she's just roaming the country and all you have to do is find her and she'll fall in love with you. It's the same reason why the presence of Tim was hidden in every possible way. Oh, well, look at the time. It's time for the video to mention Shadman. At the same time as these podcasts, Belle cosplayed as the skeleton persona of controversial lolly artist Shadai Prajan, aka Shadman. Unlike most of these other collabs where it was a single appearance, Belle and Shad had a prolonged influencer relationship. Following the initial cosplay, Shad drew a stylized version of Belle, which Belle reposted. So Shad drew another, and another, and another.
Can anyone tell me what Buddha is?
Shad was clearly very interested in Belle, and for Belle, his art was likely a great bit of promotion across his fanbase. Shad still upholds his end of the bargain until today, drawing Belle in various suggestive poses. Why would the guy who makes a living drawing lollies and actual children have such an interest in Belle? Huh. Years later, when accepting the game, when demanding an apology from Belle for affiliating with Shad. Her gift box sending continued through to the Christmas period, with one notable recipient being the YouTuber 2Mad, most known for his lockdown Zoom trolling and erratic personality. As well as being sent to Belle Delphine Vlogs, 2Mad wound up sending Belle his million subscriber play button, to which she, did things to it. Belle and 2Mad would strike up a friendship and discuss making more content together in the future that we'll touch on later. With all these appearances, I'm surprised she never made a direct attempt to break into the influencer space. With all her YouTuber connections, I could see her really doing any type of content and seeing considerable success. You know, return to her roots and do makeup tutorials, but with the Belle Delphine persona and comedy that people have come to expect. Belle did say she didn't really have much innate comedic ability, so she wasn't really suited for making videos. But doing something like a YouTube, I think, would have given her much more longevity in the public consciousness. But let's get back to 2020. Belle made the largest announcement of her career to date, that she would finally, for reals this time, be making an Oscar challenge video.
What are you going to be doing the Oscar video with? There we go.
content of the video. I haven't seen it, I'm going off what they said. Apparently it was amateurish in production value, and everyone involved seemed awkward, so not very appealing to watch for anyone. Regardless of critical reception, Belle netted over £5 million from this single event. As 2021 came around, Belle was as active as she'd ever been on OnlyFans, uploading up to 40 images a day for subscribers. At this point, her net worth was now firmly in the millions. Looking at the accounts of her company, Innovative Artists, we see the assets jump from around 600,000 in early 2020 to around 10 million in early 2021. She was so well known, she got featured on Mr. Beast's YouTube Rewind 2020. I don't know. She's not even a fucking...
6 down, 9 up. I'm in the top 10. Did I take health damage? Oh, it's because it's claw. Fucking dick. Fuck. I don't know, I'm tempted to take it because I can maybe oh, nope, that's probably better actually. Fuck. Stupid guy and his poison gas. There, that's what I'm looking for. Ah! My mouse won't move. What? My mouse would not move there for a second. Oh no. Ah! What was that? Whoa. Oh. There, I want that bush until further. Or, well, this thing until further. It'll have to come sooner or later. Six down, 4 up. Apparently they're fighting in the storm. No, they're all this direction, I guess. No, there is a guy in there. I don't know where he is, though. Six down, 2 up. You know he's over here somewhere, but he has to come to me now. So let him come to me now. There he is. Stay in until... Oh.
What? Oh my god, what shot that was dead? What?
Why did I lead the bush? Why did I lead the bush? Second place. One bullet and I was dead. What the fuck was that?
Hundreds of YouTubers and asked them what they think should be in Rewind.
This video is great. It's so dated. You got free face reveal dream where people like fucking. so ugly he no longer deserved to have a career. Appearing on Mr. Beast was a clear indicator that her YouTube exposure had worked, and all she had to do now was figure out how to keep. How to go about doing that? Well, she needed another controversy. Belle had thrived on the principle of all publicity is good publicity, so for her next photo shoot, Belle would make something a dash controversial. On the 12th of January 2021, Belle uploaded a series of images of her dressed in 1940s-esque attire, with a masked man played by her boyfriend grabbing and gagging her, before a scene of implied sexual assault. The content of these images drew immediate criticism, mainly from female followers of Belle, who saw the
Okay, I'm gonna switch headphones here because these headphones are not balanced the right way. I don't want to change the volume sliders. Is this right? I think it's right. I don't know, I'll have to check. Yes, that's correct, yeah. Okay, turn this off. Okay, much better, much better. I like these headphones a lot more. I can really tell where they are. I think I'd rather have that than that. Maybe I'll buy a pair of Raycons. Get ones with really long life that have super good balancing. Did I see him? Yes, I did. God, that's the second time. That's the second time I've had the AI make a run for the gas station. Ooh. No. Got both of them. Yeah. Oh, look, it's full. Oh, look, it's a gold. Oh, yay. Give me that. I need more practice with those, so I'm going to force myself to use one every match until I'm fucking perfect with it. I don't know. This is so much heals. I better take that. I don't know. The Rift is good. The Rift will get me out of here. Like, really fast. There's somebody. Maybe I can land on him. Oh. Should have opened up sniper. I can just throw the bush. Oh. He jumped right as I fired, that son of a bitch. Got him all three, 4 shots, 4 shots. Eight down, 9 up in the top 10. I don't have to move for a while, so I won't. Oh. What was that? I heard something from that direction. But I don't see anything. Oh, there. There you are. devices close. Jesus Christ. You scared me, kitty. It's good. You're good. You're good. You're good, kitty. Hey.